front yard fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my wildly handsome and still goateed co-host, John Luke Garofalo. What's up, JL?
Still goateed. I did try shaving the neck beard today, but I think it looks stupid.
It looks so much better.
It's so much less itchy, but the whole thing's going away soon. So annoying.
Well, next, I'm going to peer pressure you. Just shave like the sides and leave the goatee. Like just
no,
leave the
absolutely not. This is not the early 2000s, Simon.
Until you go like this, it already looks like that. Like you already.
I know,
have
and I hate
goatee.
that. You can't see it, but it is coming in the cheeks. It is. It's just slower, just much slower.
Tommy said, "Looks better." Jalen said, "Yo, yo, yo! Time for the show."
Tommy.
Oi, hey, oi,
oi, oi, oi.
I think we went the wrong way. It's a oi a, but that's
oi,
okay. When Coop's gone, it's oi a oi.
Yeah, I invented it. I can go whichever way I want.
Yeah, suck it, Coop. Have fun in
Coop.
Iceland or wherever the hell you are right now.
Dingus.
Guys, we've also got Craig in the chat with the Grimace Gang and Hogs and Logs. What's up, Craig? Welcome in. And Maria's in here as well. Hi, Maria.
Good morning, Maria.
Here. Craig was part of a movie chat we were doing the other day, JL, and it was horror movies, but then Jurassic Park got brought up, and I just got like so excited. I was like, I want to hear Craig's take on Jurassic Park. And then he started talking about the book and put it in my mind that I need to read that book. He was like, it is so much different than the movie. Like, who doesn't love a good dinosaur story?
I did not know Jurassic Park had a book, which happens. I know like a lot of movies are based off of books, but I just had never thought of it.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, like, I feel like that was somewhere in my memory bank, but I had closed it off. I had forgotten that there was a book to Jurassic Park. Maria said, I didn't know it was a book either. I guess when you watch the movie, it just feels so cinematic. You know what I mean? Like it feels so like made for the big screen that maybe it doesn't, you don't think, oh, I bet this is based on a book.
I think that's what it is.
It was a Michael Crichton novel. No, was it Michael Crichton? It was Michael Crichton. Yeah, it was, because that's how it came up, because I accidentally misattributed a Stephen King book to Michael Crichton, and then we got on the topic of Michael Crichton. And Tommy wants to know how
Stephen King wrote that.
What'd you say?
Can you imagine if Stephen King wrote Jurassic Park?
I've never read a Stephen King book or novel, so I would have no frame of reference for like how that would look.
Spooky.
I've seen some movies based on Stephen King stories, but I have not read a Stephen King story. And Tommy wants to know, how is Green Eggs and Ham not a movie? JL, how is this not a movie? It's got to be, right?
That's a good question. It's got to be. I think there is one starring Zac Efron.
I want like a feature-length horror film of
Green Eggs and Ham.
Yo, I just think, but have you seen like the horror trailer for Winnie and the Pooh? It was like right after Winnie and the Pooh entered public domain. This group, I don't know if it was real or if they're making a fake movie, or like if it was like a fake trailer, but there was like a Winnie and the Pooh horror film because Winnie and the Pooh entered the public domain I saw a trailer for, and it was terrifying.
That is scary.
Oh, it's real. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's coming out in 2023. It follows Pooh and Piglet as they go on a rampage after Christopher Robin abandons them. So Christopher Robin grows up, doesn't come back to the 100-acre wood, and Piglet and Pooh go on a murderous rampage. That's
crazy.
Sounds wild, right?
Yeah, that sounds insane. Are you gonna go see it?
Oh, without a doubt, I'm gonna go see it. But it just looks messed up. It's got like the Pooh from the trailer has like a Five Nights at Freddy's vibe to it, kind of, with the way they did the mask. So it's gonna be pretty creepy. Yeah, Craig, and you're confirming. No, that is real. We also got Lucius in the chat. Good morning, Lucius, and Adam saying good morning as well.
Morning,
What's
Adam.
up, Adam? Glad to have you guys in here.
Welcome in.
You guys are just in time. It is time for a segment. We're calling it something a little different today. Morning, partners.
We're workshopping some names, you know.
Let us know what you think of the new name. We are about to get into Morning Partners. This is where we bring topics we want to talk about and hang out. Let us know what you think about them. Dale, morning, partner.
Morning, partner. How you doing?
Doing all right. You got something you got something you need to talk about with me this morning?
Yeah, I do have something I got to talk about with you. Probably the biggest news yesterday, at least for me as a child who grew up in the DMV. It seems like what we thought never would happen might actually happen. Dan Snyder hires Bank of America to sell Washington Commanders. It might finally be happening, Simon.
Before, there's a lot of serious things to say about this, but in the release, they said Dan Snyder has hired BOFA to handle the potential transactions around the team. And I was reading that and I was like, the way Dan Snyder's been behaving, it would not shock me if this was just an incredibly elaborate setup for a D's nuts joke. Like if it wasn't actually Bank of America and it was just BOFA. And then he's like, yeah, BOFA D's nuts are selling the team. And then he just goes on about his
Honestly,
business.
I might respect him a little bit more if he pulled that off. If he pulled that off, I never thought I would have more respect for that man.
It was the first thing I read as I went through. Like when I went through it, it was all I could think. I was like, he's punking us. This is a BOFA joke.
Yeah, hilarious. A BOFA joke.
No, but I didn't think we'd see the day come, right? I mean, but I also didn't think we'd see the day come. Like he was adamant that he would not change the name of the team. They're the Washington Commanders now. He was adamant that he would not sell the team, and now they hired Bank of America to handle potential transactions. Joe, you grew up a Washington fan. Like that was the team that you grew up following, and you stopped being a fan primarily because of the ownership, right? It made it difficult to cheer for them.
I would say the owner, like the main catalyst was the name, was that he wouldn't change the name. But also, and then it was just like, well, why am I even supporting this organization from a general point? I didn't even like any of the players on the team. Don't even like the organization that they had at the time. So. Yeah, renounced my fandom a long time ago, but I'm very happy to see him gone. He is a just terrible person.
Man, yeah, no, this would be thrilling for him to sell the team, right? It would be better for the NFL if Dan Snyder's no longer an owner, but I did not think we were going to see the day it happened.
No, I mean, me neither.
One day it would happen.
Of course, one day.
I just meant not like today or tomorrow or this season.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, getting pressured and it seems like it works between both the name change and this. Just external pressure.
Maria wants to know, but will he still own Six Flags? Does he own Six Flags?
I had no idea that he owned Six Flags.
No.
Probably. I don't see like the League of Amusement Parks going after him, so he'll probably still own that.
The League of Amusement Parks. I'm imagining that board. Roger Goodell is also the commissioner of the
somehow.
Amusement Parks.
It's like regional amusement parks though. It's not like
now I'm imagining the whole economy is like the economy of theme parks is there are roller coaster designers that are professionals, but they don't work for any specific company. They just design coasters. Freelance. And then there's a draft for the coasters that they've designed during each off season for the theme parks. Like winter hits, they pull up, it's the roller coaster draft with the first overall pick. Cedar Point takes the Top Thrill Dragster, and then they build the roller coaster. Everyone goes wild. People are still booing. There's a bunch of design nerds booing Roger Goodell as he comes out on stage for the draft.
Roger Goodell calls the coaster on the phone, or the team does. I guess Roger Goodell wouldn't be drafting them in this scenario. Oh boy!
Team calls up just some guy in his basement who designed the roller coaster and is like, your coaster's the first overall pick. And he's like, okay, on to the next one.
On to the next.
We got Craig in here saying you should have Snyder on the show to talk to.
I would if he'll come on. I would absolutely.
That could be a good segment.
Why do you suck?
I think we'd have some fun if Dan Snyder came on the show.
What would we do?
We got Jolly Ranter in the chat. Oh, what would be the first thing I said to Dan Snyder?
Yeah.
I think we'd want to make him feel safe a little bit at first in the interview, right? I would just first thing I would say is I would just welcome Washington Commanders owner for now, Dan Snyder. Is how I would let him in. I would just say that very quickly and subtly, and then go into the first question, lull him into a sense of security, but with a slight discomfort, but where he thinks oh, that was just a weird thing he said. Like, oh, he's just nervous is how I tried to make him feel. And then, bam!
I like
punch him through the camera.
Punch him through the camera.
Just no violence. I do not promote violence. Tommy said, I would just say why, and then follow that up with a but why?
But why?
And that's a good question. Just keep asking him that until he gets off the show. We've got Jolly Rancher in the chat saying, best part of waking up. Good morning. Glad to have you in here.
Grinabeld.
And Tommy said, FYF in your cup is the best part of waking up. I don't know if you want any FYF in your cup. I do not know if you
I don't
want
know
any
what that
FYF
means.
in your cup. JL, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, this is very important. Just wildly important. And on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 9.6.
That's
like
pretty
even
big.
above the 9.
That's pretty big. I'm excited.
It's pretty important. I'm going to tell you it is not football related, but honestly, it's probably even more important on a magnitude level.
Okay.
In 15 days, 2 Fridays from tomorrow, the new Pokemon games are being released. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are being released for the Nintendo Switch
playing?
2 from today.
Are we buying? Are we playing?
Hyped. It is.
Of course, we're buying. Of course, we're playing.
Oh my god! I don't care if it's my.
We do it every time. Why am I asking?
I'll go into debt to play this game if I have to. It doesn't matter what my bank account says.
So I'm pretty disconnected from just the game world in general. I used to be tuned in. I am not tuned in anymore. I have too much work all the time. What's for this one? What's the premise? It's not open world like the previous one, right?
It is open world.
It is. Okay, so they're iterating on that.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to iterate on Pokemon Legends Arceus, the open world game, and they're releasing a more standard, like similar to their past generations, where they have 2 games. They're releasing Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, both as open world games. Which the first one was good. It was like the open world aspect to it wasn't perfectly executed, but it was a good game. It was a fun game.
It was a good evolution for like that game format. They tried a brand new type of format, and I thought it was a good step. It definitely left a lot to be desired, but I think that it was a good step in the right direction, and I'm excited to see what they iterate on. Do we know what's the next thing for them in this one? Is this the same concept, or what are they improved on?
They've added picnics, JL. You can now go on a picnic. Isn't that exciting?
That's pretty exciting.
You can change the designs of the tablecloth, the cups, the water bottles, and other picnic items. But the real purpose of a picnic is you can feed your Pokemon sandwiches and they regain HP out in the wild.
Ooh.
So you can just make sandwiches, feed your Pokemon out there in the wild. And then there's a new device called the TM machine where you can make your own TMs to teach your Pokemon moves as well. So that's pretty cool. And then I kind of buried the lead here, JL. There's a new Pokemon. Do you remember the Pokemon Girafarig?
No.
It's the steel giraffe, and on its tail, it has something that looks like a chain chomp from Mario. Like its tail is like a chain chomp face from Mario. Well, it has a new evolution where the tail has somehow like eaten up the neck and over its head. So, in its evolution, instead of Girafarig, is now Farigiraf or Farigiraf. They just mixed up the letters and called it Farigiraf, and I could not be happier with how they decided to name that guy.
That's hilarious. I do know which Pokemon you're talking about. Now that you say it.
Farigiraf. I'm just going to be saying, I don't even care if that's not how you say it. That's how I'm going to be saying it for the rest of the time. I'm never going to watch the anime to find out how they actually say it. I'm just not doing it. Either. It's going to ruin something Pokemon. For me.
Right.
Look at Andrew Cooper joining the show. What's up, Coop?
What's up, dude? I heard we were talking Pokemon picnic, so just wanted to call in for where I'm having a picnic here in the King's Garden in Denmark.
In Denmark? I don't know what Oh, beautiful. Oh, ain't much beautiful. Of a garden. I don't see much flowers.
Hey, JL,
come over there.
Doesn't need flowers.
What's that big ball?
That's a good question, dude. I wasn't going to address that. It looks like just an ornament.
It just seems out of place. It's just sitting there.
I love how I show you guys a picture of a beautiful castle, and you're like, "What's that big ball?"
What's that ball in the ground?
In our sense,
show us the ball.
We know what the castle is.
Yeah, it's a castle. Those are houses. We've seen thousands of houses.
That looks like picturesque, doesn't it? Look at those houses. That's
show us
cute.
the ball.
Yeah. I think I found the part that's as Denmark as they make it, right? Just for you guys.
Man.
Tommy wants to know, Coop, how
The
many tourists have
shades.
you? How many people have you pissed off so far while walking around Europe? Is what Tommy
Have you
wants
used
to
our
know.
tips?
Oh, bro. How many people have pissed off while trying to ride a bike in the most aggressive bike city in the world, man? These guys cruise on these bikes, and I'm out here just kind of like sightseeing, Mr. Cooling around, dude. So,
Mr.
yeah,
Cooling.
dude, not really fitting in. Hey, Kate, say hi.
Hey.
Hi, Kate.
She
Have
is.
fun in
Hey.
Denmark.
Dude, she's
There she
sitting
is,
on
yeah.
the ball. You can sit on them?
Well, I think actually that's what they're for. Yeah, they're back in the 1700s. King Frederick III, he was like, I'm tired of benches, dude. We're gonna sit on balls now.
Dude,
He was
innovator.
he was executed almost immediately for that idea.
But
Modern
now
day
look
Da
at how
Vinci.
far he is the one who inspired the yoga ball movement. They just didn't have elastic yet at that time to create the yoga ball.
I mean, yeah, looking back, it was a huge mistake, the execution. But,
Visionaries pay the price sometimes. Sometimes it hurts.
that's the thing, dude. They didn't understand, dude. He was like Alan Turing. But
Why someone else knows Alan Turing on the show? Finally.
I think, finally, Alan Turing. Hey, check it off on your bingo card, Tommy. Alan Turing reference, the second one.
Turing.
Yeah.
I think I threw Alan Turing in a Jeopardy game once, one of our Jeopardy games, and not a single person knew who he was.
Hey, give me some
Ever
credit,
even heard of
JL.
him?
I know what the Turing test is. I'm fully aware
Oh,
of
what? The Turing test. Like,
There
that's
you go.
just that
That's
should
a
not be
computer.
the thing that comes to mind when you think of Alan Turing.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I've heard of something. I know something about it. You said hadn't even heard of. Boom, suck it.
You're right.
We'll give you some
I will
points.
suck it. I will suck it.
You're awarded minor points for that. All right, well, just wanted to check in from Denmark. I will check in again when I get to another city, my boys.
Absolutely.
you, my
Enjoy
friend.
Denmark. Good luck on the bikes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I really do need it, dude. People ring their little bells real aggressively out here if you go to, so I'm getting ringed on real hard. So all right, hey, cheers guys.
Cheers.
you, Coop.
Okay, we say hi.
He is not lying about the bike thing. I've never experienced it in Denmark, but last time I was in the Netherlands, I was 16 and we went to Amsterdam to visit some family and we hopped on bikes and I'm thinking, I know how to ride a bike, right? Like I've ridden bikes in my grandparents' hometown, like a small Dutch town, no problem. I ride bikes at home all the time. Like I've known how to ride a bike since I was like 4 years old. And now you get on a bike in those cities, it's a different game, man. There's like hundreds of bikes on these paths, just like zooming around each other. There's all these rules you're supposed to know. And Coop's right. You never imagine that little bling, bling could be aggressive, but like people ring it with vitriol. They ring it with hatred. They ring it with like pain in their heart that you are in their way, blocking them.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty
We have
awful.
Brian in here coming to ask a good question this morning. Good morning, Brian. He said, should I do Fournette and Judy for Jalen Waddle? Fournette and Judy for Jalen Waddle. I think I would do that trade. This is going to depend on whether you have the running back depth and I guess not the wide receiver depth, but the running back depth here to give up a Fournette for Jalen Waddle. But if you do, if that's the case, and you can have somebody fill in for Fournette reasonably, it's an upgrade. Getting Waddle, who's a very good, talented wide receiver on this offense, which is passing a ton.
Ditto what JL said. I want Waddle as the best player out of this. Fournette's tough to trade away, like trading away one of those top running backs, but there are plenty of situations you could be in with your team where you have a serviceable guy to plug in instead. You've got a Deonta Foreman on your roster. You have a Kenneth Walker, someone that you can just plug in and get points out. If you have a Tony Pollard, I know what I mean? Like I'd be comfortable enough with Tony Pollard as that next guy up to go into the roster, even though he's not the starting back in his offense.
Oh yeah, that would be iffy. If it's Tony Pollard, I would be hesitant.
But I would rather have Pollard and Waddle in my starting lineup as opposed to who is that wide receiver?
Fournette
Judy.
and Judy.
Then Fournette and Judy. Like I think Pollard, Waddle greater than Fournette, Judy. I know I just added a hypothetical name in there, but I'm just thinking of running backs that you could realistically have on your bench.
Right.
Maria
said, I love the new Learning with Coop segment. Me too. You learned the origin of yoga balls today.
King Frederick. Who knew?
And King Frederick III.
Who even knew? I had no idea, honestly, about King Frederick III. And I learned a lot about kings and a lot about Fredericks. Fredericks in history. I've read that whole book.
You are a very big Frederick guy.
It's called Frederick Smedrick, Fredericks Throughout Time. That's the name of the show, or the name of the book. And I've read the whole thing. Never even heard of this King Frederick of Denmark. I'm
Never
going to have to
even
contact
heard of
the
this
author,
guy.
reach out
Craig
to him.
earlier asked which version we're going to get of the Pokemon game.
I'll get whichever
Simon
one.
and I always will get we both always get different ones so we can trade with each other.
Yeah, I don't really care which one. I just care that Jail has a different one than I do.
Yeah, that's our move. That's been our move for like the past 6 games that have come out. So I'm with it. That's just how we operate going forward now in my mind.
Do you have a preference, Jail? Maybe we can decide right here, Scarlet or Violet.
I know nothing about these games. I think I have a pre-order too. No, maybe I don't. I don't have it pre-ordered. That would have definitely changed which side I would have wanted.
Do you get? No, I just have one of them pre-ordered, but I don't really care which one I have.
Let's order both of them. Why do they sell both of them like on the Switch? It's like a bundle is like the main one they're selling.
Because here's why, Jail. Because a lot of kids play this game, right? There's a lot of kids who play this game, and parents don't know shit about video games. They just like don't quite understand it. They just know my kids want the new Pokemon. Christmas time's coming up, and they're like, "Oh, this is just more Pokemon." Like, so I'm going to get them the bundle. And so then parents who don't quite know what's going on go out and buy the bundle for their kids. And then it's just 2 identical games with a couple different Pokemon in it.
That makes sense. That would confuse the hell out of me as a kid, though.
Right? Seeing both games. And Craig said, my son is going to want to trade with one of you then. Okay.
Let's do
Whichever
it.
one has a different version.
I don't know why. Get Craig and Scott Fish to get it too. And then we'll just all play and trade with each other.
Yeah. And then just
Joey.
We'll do it live on air. It'll be a 3-hour Let's Play featuring Scott Fish and Craig on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show.
Scott Fish is just like in the corner, can't figure out how to get out of like the first town.
I'm in the corner. Yeah, he will be. There was something else I read an article yesterday, Jail. There was a Stanford research study about the effects that playing Pokemon has on a child's brain. And it does something to your memory. We're like, truly, as children, there is so much information in a Pokemon game that you have to remember as a child. All of the names of the Pokemon, all of the moves, how they work in relation to each other, the typings, that you start creating all these synapses. And it truly, like the simplest way they explained it, like to put it in like oversimplified terms, because it's not it devotes a portion of your brain, like a segment of it, to it is broken to be about Pokemon, to be dedicated to Pokemon, because as a child, like your brain's developing, and that is just an insane amount of information required to play a game for a child.
You know, the media is about to take that and spin the hell out of it and be like, Pokemon's hijacking your kid's brain.
The point of the study was like more, it's a positive thing. Know what I mean? It
helps
your kids like develop these like memory patterns and memory techniques. But and like this is truly like what a cool way to get such like a honestly intense game, a game with a lot of features, but it doesn't require you to use all of them to be successful at it, is where it was going from. But they're all still present and they're all still good to know.
Man, Maria hates this story, but I always talk about Pokemon saved my life as a kid. So I got super into
hate that story.
I don't know. For whatever reason, she hates it. But I was in the hospital when I was 5. I had a disease called Kawasaki's, which is an autoimmune disease, only affects kids. And I was in the hospital for like weeks, and my dad ended up just buying me a Game Boy Color. My sister and I both a Game Boy Color with Pokemon, and we just sat there throughout those weeks just in the hospital playing the game. And then even after I went home, finally, I got better to figure out what it was. Got better, went home. I couldn't go out to recess because I had affects the heart. And so my sister and I would sit in the classroom while all the other kids went out and played recess, and we just sit there and play Pokemon all day. So I totally see how it hijacked my brain now, Simon. It's all starting to come together.
It's all starting to come together, isn't it? It is. Dale, I saw yesterday that Keenan Allen still did not practice, and there's a chance that he's not going to play this weekend either. Mike Williams, as we know, is already out. If Keenan Allen also misses, what does that do for Josh Palmer for you? In this matchup this weekend, going up against the Atlanta Falcons, which is a positive matchup.
Yeah, it's a positive matchup. He's the main guy there in the offense that's passing a lot. It absolutely elevates him. Now he's still Joshua Palmer, so he's not going to be like a Mike Williams race, but the opportunity this week is fantastic.
Like a top 24, top 30 kind of wide receiver this week.
I would put him probably just back end wide receiver too. if Keenan Allen's out as well.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of view him still as a like wide receiver 3 range. But
I think that's more likely the scenario or the outcome. But I do think if Keenan Allen is out, he has the upside to be a wide receiver too.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I think he has that upside. I mean, I think his upside's higher than that. If things click in this offense and those guys are out. But what I'm expecting is a wide receiver 3 performance. So I'm not forcing him into lineups. Fantasy Dog wanted to know over Duvernay. So what about
yes.
Would you start him over Duvernay, Josh Palmer?
Yeah, Duvernay has not been able to turn his opportunity into fantasy production. I'm not super confident to start him week in, week out. I would just be dropping him, revenging him.
Man, I feel like it's been rough wide receiver wise for the Los Angeles Chargers this year, though. And then Justin Herbert also dealing with an injury. It just makes it quite difficult to really gauge how good this team is. I've got no idea.
It's tough.
Like in my pick'em this weekend, that was one of the games I struggled with the most. Like it seems like the Chargers should beat the Falcons, right? Like that seems like they should beat the Falcons. The records are similar though. And this Falcons team has looked all right offensively, and this Chargers team has looked lost at times. I still think the Chargers take this game, but it's not as clear cut as I think it should be whenever you look at these teams on paper, like how we thought these teams were going to look at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no, it is not. It's definitely not. I hope the Chargers are able to turn this around post-bye here.
I like the Chargers. I don't know why. There's just something likable about them. I think it's the lightning bolt and the horse that they have running up and down the sidelines. I think it's Bolt himself.
I think it's Bolt.
No, that's the Seahawks guy, isn't it?
No, that's Blitz.
Blitz, that's right. I was like, wait, who did Coop get in a fight with?
Yeah, Blitz.
Right. I was making sure I wasn't misattributing the fight that Coop got into.
No, you got that right.
We
got Adam in here. So
Fantasy Dog had a question in here.
Yeah, Adam in here saying, do you like Isaiah Pacheco over Alexander Madison or Rachaad White as a stash?
Alexander Madison over Rachaad White. Pacheco over Alexander Madison and Rachaad White as a stash. No, I like both of those other guys better as stashes. I like Pacheco as a stash to see what happens. But Alexander Madison and Rachaad White have already shown more upside, I believe, in the roles that they have whenever their starter is down, right? And then Rachaad White's role can only grow over the back half of this season. So I'm going to take Rachaad White or Alexander Madison.
Yeah, I'm with you. Simon. We just don't know if it's going to happen for Isaiah Pacheco yet. We got to see it. We got to see him be the featured guy there.
Fantasy Dog in here wanted to know, should I drop CEH full point PPR for one of the following players? Deion Jackson, Kenyon Drake, Eno Benjamin, Jamal Williams, or Michael Carter, or J-Rob, or Deonta Foreman, or Cordero Patterson on IR. Oh, those are the running backs that you have. Should you drop CEH? Man, you can't drop CEH right now, I feel like. Not in the Chiefs offense, but you are loaded. I don't think he's the first running back I would drop off your roster, though. Like, I think I would drop Michael Carter before I dropped CEH. Jail, what about you? Do you think Fantasy Dog can drop CEH? Find the other running backs they have on their roster are Deion Jackson, Kenyon Drake, Eno Benjamin, Jamal Williams, Michael Carter, J-Rob, Deonta Foreman, and Cordero Patterson. Said RB2 loaded.
Yeah, I think you can. Drop CEH. His usage has not been there. The performance has not been there. Honestly, I was looking through his game logs last night on the season, and it's just disappointing. And so at this point, I'm okay if you want to drop him if he's your worst running back, which it seems like he is out of that group.
I would rather drop Michael Carter, I think. I still think I would rather drop Michael Carter than CEH, but I get it. He's not an undroppable player, right?
Right. Absolutely not. Michael Carter has been doing all right. He's gotten he's been averaging around 8-ish points, maybe 8 to 10 points a game, even with Breece Hall going down. He's still being factored. He has 7 targets last week. It's pretty enticing.
They are adding Mr. James Robinson into the mix, though.
They
right?
are,
so
for sure.
So it could affect Michael Carter. I'm a little bit nervous about that.
But Clyde Edwards-Helaire has like 6 different guys that they're adding into the mix.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But it's mostly Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon, right? I feel like we'll still see CEH games. We'll still see him blow up. I see Albert in here saying, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Albert.
Morning,
Glad
Albert.
to have you in here. And Alvin wanted to know, he needs one flex this week. Do you like Romeo Doubs, Kadarius Toney, or Michael Pittman more this week in full PPR? So, JL, which of these wide receivers would you be starting this week?
It was Pittman, Doubs, and was it the third
Kadarius
one?
Toney.
Take Kadarius Toney out.
Yep.
You can't be throwing him in your fantasy lineups until we see it from him. We don't even know if he's going to play this week. And then who are the other two, Simon? You just told me, and they just flew out of my head.
The question was Pittman, Doubs, and Toney. Pittman, Doubs, and Toney.
So between Pittman and Doubs, that becomes interesting. Pittman's been dealing with this new quarterback situation. I still think I'm going to go
matchup against New England.
He does have a touch matchup against New England. Romeo Doubs is a pretty easy matchup against Detroit. I think I'd go Romeo Doubs here.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I think this is where I go Romeo Doubs. The rookie quarterback plus the tough matchup for Michael Pittman makes me lean Romeo Doubs with the better matchup. So yeah. I'm starting Romeo Doubs after Michael Pittman, and that sucks. That sucks. But that is the direction I'm
Not
going.
If you have Romeo Doubs.
Not if you have Romeo Doubs. It just sucks for, like, Michael Pittman was a top 12 wide receiver for me this offseason, right? And I feel like if Matt Ryan stayed in, we might have seen that, but we're not going to see it anymore. And Adam said he was leaning Doubs as well. That was a good question.
Good question.
Fantasy Dog liking that call says, good call. We shall see if it's a good call.
We shall see.
Good news. The best part about fantasy is usually we get that answer within the next couple of days every time.
Very quick feedback.
Yeah, we're going to find out pretty quickly if it was a good call or not.
Yeah. Trying to predict fantasy football is like stepping on a rake.
Not every time.
Not every time.
It's not every time.
A lot of the time.
It's like stepping forward and there's like an 80% chance there's a rake there. Like someone blindfolds you. Yeah, someone blindfolds you and they just say like, there might be a rake. And
you're in a room full of rakes, but you're blindfolded. That's fantasy football.
That sounds like a Jackass sketch, doesn't it? Like where
I'm pretty sure that wasn't Jackass. Like
they did one similar where they turned all the lights off and they did medicine ball dodgeball.
Oh,
that is one of my favorite ones of all time because I would be so terrified. Like I'm trying to think of a situation that's scarier than being in a dark room full of people chucking medicine balls around. Like 20-pound medicine balls. That is terrifying.
That is. That we should do that. We got to do FYF Jackass.
I've talked about it. I brought up a Jackass style fantasy league where you had to do challenges and stuff for the drafts. Tim and I started writing up the rules and everyone was like, no way. Like, no way. I'm not doing this with you and Tim.
I think that was me. I was the one that was saying that.
Yeah. By people are JL.
I was looking at we had like written it down in Notion yesterday. So I was going through this all yesterday and one of them was Fantasy Jackass and it was like, eat a ghost pepper on stream.
I think one of them was tase yourself, if I'm not mistaken.
It was like get tased on stream.
It's fun. All in good fun, just good stuff.
All in good fun. In other news, I saw Elijah Mitchell is hoping to be back after the bye week in San Francisco and seems hyped. He said, I'll be around here getting better, taking care of my body, getting ready for Sunday night. He said he expects to be activated and ready for the November 13 game against the Chargers, according to Matt Mayako on Twitter. It's pretty interesting. Are you have any interest in Elijah Mitchell, Simon, with CMC there?
He's a backup. Like he's a backup.
He says he's excited to work with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, one way to work with someone is underneath them as their backup.
Yeah,
as their understudy.
Get crop dusted as you follow them around.
Get crop dusted as you follow them around. They're in the same running back room. They're going to be working together. But Christian McCaffrey's the starter, and I think Kyle Shanahan is smart enough to know each time Christian McCaffrey touches the ball, their chance of winning that game goes up. Like they're going to have him touch the ball as much as possible while keeping him healthy. Mitchell probably gets some work, but it's just, man, it sucks. That dude has looked great whenever he's been the starter. That injury kind of derailed his season, and now he comes back, and one of the best running backs in the league is now the starter on his team. Like, he just didn't stand a chance. He didn't stand a chance, and he didn't even
got that
know
notification. He was just like, shoot.
Do you think they let him know? Yeah, exactly. It was like, and I'm going to be back in 1 week. And
shoot.
Damn it. Like, God, just nothing you can do about it either. Know what I mean? It was probably a moment of recognition. Like, yeah, of course he's the starter. I am not beating out Christian McCaffrey. Like, sometimes you just got to take your L.
Self-awareness. Yeah, you got to have self-awareness. Scott Fish said, yeah, but look at how many backups have been thrust into relevancy. He should be rostered, but on a bench, obviously. I'm with you, Scott.
100%.
I'm with you. I think we do see them, Shanahan work Elijah Mitchell into this rotation. Christian McCaffrey, of course he's going to try and give Christian McCaffrey the ball in as many situations as he can. I still think Elijah Mitchell, he knows this playbook. He knows this offense. He's going to get worked in.
I have less faith in that. The reason I think you should hold on to him is because he's a good starter when he's the starter. Like, if there is a backup running back who we know can be a great NFL starter for fantasy football, then you hold him on your bench if you can. Know what I mean? I know it's tough through bye weeks and stuff, but we're getting towards the end of the big bye weeks, or at least the first big one. There's one more big one in week like 11, I think, another 6-teamer. But this is
one of my leagues. I completely avoided buys, and I don't know how that happened. Like, I don't have a single player or any of the 6 teams on bye this week.
That's wild.
Right?
That is absolutely wild, because there's some big teams on bye this week as well.
Yeah, there are.
Like, it's not like just non-fantasy relevant teams, Joe. The Cowboys, fantasy relevant. The Giants, and Saquon Barkley, the Steel. You know what? Actually, the Browns, Giants, Steelers don't have that many pieces that we're starting for fantasy football, right? Like, not a ton, or the high caliber ones.
True. This is for my flex league team. This is the one I was referring to, which is Jake Seeley from The Athletic, his league that he puts together of industry folks. And I went in there to go play the waiver earlier this week, and I was like, I don't have any players on bye. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's absurd.
I don't have to pick up anyone. That's
absolutely absurd, JL. We got Adam in the chat saying bye again. Yeah, it is
bye again. Bye again.
Bye again. So long again. That's a beautiful name. JL, loser of the next game we play has to name their child Armageddon.
Okay. Deal.
First name Arm, middle name Ageddon.
Okay? Deal. Shake on it. No goes backsies.
Okay, I just shook on it.
Simon, did you see the new or the Thanksgiving throwback helmets from the Cowboys? This was going around Twitter yesterday.
No, I did not see them.
They are hot. I think Keith got the photo here. Look at these bad boys. Throwback Thanksgiving Day helmets for the Dallas Cowboys. How does that make you feel, Simon?
Those are sick. Those are absolutely sick. I love a clean helmet. Know what I mean? Like, I love a helmet that just looks clean, and I'm a sucker for some throwback. So this is checking all my boxes.
Checking
all my boxes. I'm getting a little bit excited.
Zeke put that on his Insta yesterday. Yeah, I'm with you, Simon. A good, nice helmet, a nice throwback is always cool. I just love the aesthetics of whenever the aesthetics of the NFL, of these franchises, like, to me is a fun part of the game. If they had made that matte white, that would have been hot. That would have been so nice. Pretty much matte on any of the helmets or jerseys I'm about.
Most matte I enjoy. Sometimes it's unnecessary. Sometimes
the
Jaguars. The Jaguars. Sometimes
the Jaguars
the gloss
feels like they messed up matte somehow.
Right. Sometimes the gloss is important, and sometimes a team throws matte on and it seems like maybe not matte this time.
Yeah.
Maybe not matte this time, but overall I do like the matte helmets. I'm a sucker for like white or black as like the primary color.
Yeah.
Like the primary color. Those are my favorites. Like, I mean, those are hot, but as soon as I see a helmet, everything my mind goes back to is those like borderline sexually arousing helmets that the Bengals wore or earlier.
Oh, the white tiger
the white ones with the black stripes, like
white flame fire tigers.
They just came into my brain the other day. Like, I just was thinking about them and I was like, Leanne, just look at these uniforms. Like I have to remind you in case you forgot, and pulled it up. I was like, aren't these hot? Like, look at these helmets. And she was like, yeah, I guess those are really cool, Simon. And they just live in my brain.
Adam asking, who's playing Thanksgiving this year? We got Buffalo at Detroit for the 12:30 game, New York Giants at Dallas at 4:30, and New England at Minnesota for the night game, the 8:20 game. It'd be interesting. It's kind of, I don't know why, but just like, it seems like more interesting matchups than we've had in the past.
I don't know. It's just going to be a full day of sporting, though. We get to watch the dog show in the morning, and then you go into football starting in the afternoon and watch it all the way through the night. I know we all have the same pattern on Thanksgiving. Start with the dog show and then watch the games throughout the day, right?
Yeah, of course. That's what we all do.
Yeah.
Do you watch the parade? Are you a parade guy?
I have the parade on. I do not watch I'm usually like, that's when I'm doing my Thanksgiving morning chores. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whatever needs to get done in the morning, preparing a dish, cleaning this, making a bed. Like there's a lot of stuff that you got to do on Thanksgiving. And the parade is the perfect background noise for that, because like you're in the guest bedroom making the bed, and then all of a sudden you hear a song that you love, or you hear them scream SpongeBob and you want to run out and see the SpongeBob characters dancing. And then you go out and you watch it for a second, and then you go back to your chores. It's the best background morning TV that you could have on
That's
Thanksgiving.
Fair.
But
That's
then
fair.
you sit down and intently watch the dog show, and you pick favorites and you judge them like you know what you're talking about. That's the fun part. You get a little bit too drunk for 11 a.m. when the dog show's on, or 10 a.m. and you start judging these dogs like you're an expert. Like it's a reality television show. Like this is
terrible dog.
Like this is a dating show to pick your next dog, and you have to be harsh. So that's how you watch that show.
I respect that. I don't think I've watched I would think I've seen it, like it's been on the TV before, but I don't think I've ever sat down and like actually watched it.
It's so much fun. It's one of my joys. Tommy said Thanksgiving better than Christmas. Favorite holiday?
Oh, no, Christmas is gonna win for me out of the two.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is just like diet Christmas.
There's an element of chaos to Thanksgiving that I don't think is present on Christmas. Like whenever people talk about like the crazy family dynamic, I feel like it's always Thanksgiving, and that comes with positives, but it also comes with stress, right?
Right.
And then Christmas is just like, it's freaking Christmas.
Yeah.
How's that for an explanation?
That's pretty good analysis. I don't know how to beat that one. Justin, and here's Halloween is the best holiday. Said no one.
Jay, I think you're wrong there. A lot of people say that. Tim, one of your best friends, one of your best friends, Tim, Halloween is by far his favorite holiday, I believe. If not the one that Adam just brought holidays. Up. St. Patrick's Day would be Tim's
my favorite
holiday.
I just told you, damn it.
Christmas. Jill, I would have pegged you for a Christmas guy so fast. You would have of course you love Christmas.
I'm a big Flag Day guy.
Flag Day?
Mm-hmm.
I do like flags. Flags
Cinco de
really
Mayo is a pretty sweet holiday.
It is a pretty sweet holiday. Underrated holiday, Jill. Most underrated holiday.
Most underrated holiday. Martin Luther King Day. Easy.
It's a good answer. And now I'm going to sound like a jackass if I say April Fool's Day.
I beat you. April Fool's Day.
Yeah, I should have really gone first in this one. Can't really follow up MLK Day with April Fool's Day as the most underrated holiday, huh?
Yeah, but consider this.
Yeah, I'm changing my answer to April also Fool. MLK Day, JL. What a great answer you gave right there.
Thank you.
Guys, coming up, JL and I are going to try to make a trade live on air. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if it's going to happen, but we are actually trying this live. Like we have not done pre-show talks to try to make this happen. We just said, let's try to do it live on air tomorrow. And we're going to try to see if it happens. After that, we've got Joey joining the show to help us answer some questions from Reddit. And then we're going to play some more of our new game, Fast Time Quick Guy. We'll be breaking down this Thursday night football game and doing a prop draft bet a little bit later today as well. Right now, you are listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Surely. Kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
Yeah, they're always readily available, too, it seems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
run it back? Let's run
I imagine
Graham
every
Gano.
single kicker that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just at the local high school kicking field goals, and the phone rings. They get a call and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing for this.
I have an amazing kicker story if you guys have a second.
I got a couple.
The number one all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next two guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout, and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3 point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me on the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We totally have that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. This guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right, yeah. Like, Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, imagine they win the national championship. That's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Jalen and I are about to try to make a trade live on air, run through some of our leagues, see what the team needs are, and go from there. Get a trade done. JL,
let's do it.
You and I think, have a long, storied history of making trades, and I'm going to be honest. They don't usually work in my favor. The trades we've made have been pretty bad on my end. At the time, like, they seemed relatively fair, at least for me. Like, but then time passes and it hasn't worked out. Like, just to highlight some of them. What was the trade that got you Alvin Kamara in our Dynasty League?
That was Alvin Kamara and Julio Jones for Doug Martin and CJ Anderson.
Oh God, it still hurts. Like,
this is 2019, 2018. This is when Doug Martin, he was suspended for the first 4 games. It was Alvin Kamara's rookie year. So he was third string, I believe, at the time, behind Adrian Peterson, and there's someone else there, Mark Ingram.
Yeah, Mark Ingram.
If you remember, Kamara turned it on later on that season, and I think they traded Adrian Peterson or cut him. I think he went to the Cardinals or something after that. Wow, my memory around that is kind of deep because of this trade.
My memory is just Alvin Kamara ended up getting the starting job, and the rest is history. And I was left with CJ Anderson doing nothing after the previous year, killing it. And then Doug Martin never living up to the 1,000-yard season that he had. I believed in the muscle hamster so hard. And then it didn't work. On that same team, I also drafted Ezekiel Elliott and traded him away for, I can't even remember
Diggs.
what.
That one
okay.
was that one was
okay.
Pretty reasonable. Yeah. And that was kind of what led us down this path of doing, like, we started talking. That was like the first time we were like, oh wait, like, trading doesn't have to suck.
We can make this work. We can make this happen.
Negotiate. Yeah.
If I can make a fair trade for Stephon Diggs from JL, his high school best friend, then we can get any trades done. Then anybody can get a trade done.
Right.
Except for Aaron in our league, in our Dynasty League. He can't get a trade done.
Not a single trade's getting done.
He cannot get a single trade done.
Sorry, Aaron.
JL. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, Aaron. I mean, you probably know this based on the number of trade offers you've sent me, and not a single one of them have gone through. But yeah, in case you didn't know, I don't think you're ever going to get a trade done in fantasy. I just don't think it's going to happen, my man.
Brutal.
Pretty rough stuff.
Now, which league should we start in?
I was going to say, we're in a lot of leagues together, and I say we start in the Front Yard Fantasy League, our league with the people who work here at Front Yard Fantasy. Well, let's start there because my team is pretty bad in that league.
My team is good.
Not worked out for me.
But here's the thing: is the time that this draft happened, was like right when the season started. So I ended up having to auto draft some of these players. So my team is incidentally very good, but this is like not a league I care a ton about. So I'm looking at my needs. So I got Joe Burrow. This is a 1 QB league, PPR. You start 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, I believe. Is that right, Simon?
I believe so.
3 wide receivers, 1 flex spot, tight end. Otherwise, pretty standard, just redraft league. Craig's in this league as well, so he can probably know that he knows the players here. I have Joe Burrow, DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, Nyheim Hines, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Jerry Jeudy, Jameson Williams, Tyquan Thornton, and then George Kittle in the tight end spot. Simon, you got in this league Tua, you got Justin Fields, you got Aaron Jones, Cordero Patterson, Melvin Gordon, CMC, and then your wide receivers are Chris Godwin, Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard, Cortland Sutton, Jahan Dotson, and Kyle Pitts.
Not a great team, man. Not a great team.
Not a great team. Not a bad team. Not the worst team.
And then I just cleared up some room. Irv Smith Jr. to the waiver wire.
Irv Smith Jr. live to the waiver wire. I see Fantasy Dog here saying how many teams? 10 team. 12 team. This is a 12 team. He's asking if it was 10 team. It is a 12 team draft league. Simon, where do you want to start?
I need a running back for this week. If I can't find one, I'm going to have to pick one up off the waiver wires. But my running backs, you mentioned, Aaron Jones is my only healthy or not on bye running back going into this week. So I've got Aaron Jones. I also have Christian McCaffrey, Melvin Gordon, who's also on bye, Christian McCaffrey on bye, and then Cordero Patterson injured. So I need a running back that I can play. That being said, take a look at my wide receivers. Chris Godwin is my only wide receiver that I'm fully comfortable starting this week. Alan Lazard's still questionable. If he plays, then good news. If not, we're screwed. Hunter Renfrow has been poo-poo butt water because the Raiders have been poo-poo butt water. And then Sammy Watkins is just, I don't know, you're praying for a touchdown. Like, that's the only hope you have for him being relevant any given week is just that he catches a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
It is pretty rough. And I see Kyle Pitts. You got Kyle Pitts here in the tight end spot, which is also has just been rough. It's been rough this season.
I was excited for it, but it didn't work. Where are your holes, JL?
Where are my holes? I can show you. Honestly, this team that I have, it doesn't seem like there are a ton of holes. I think the biggest weakness here is their running back depth. So maybe these two teams aren't super compatible trading wise. I have DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, Nyheim Hines. DeAndre Swift and Joe Mixon I like going forward, but that's pretty weak depth.
If you don't have this may not be the league that we make a trade in. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like I have pieces that make sense for you in this league.
How willing are you to part with CMC? Like, is he some? You need a running back this week. Could we do something where take one of my top wide receivers and do a CMC type trade?
There would need to be a running back included in that as well, right?
Like, so maybe a swap, like a Swift for CMC, and then trying to look here, who might be good? One of these wide receivers for one of yours.
Man, like it would probably have to be a 2-for-1 with CMC for like CMC is a tier above both of your top running backs for me. Like it would probably have to be a Swift or Mixon plus a second tier wide receiver, a Devonta Smith, a Tyler Lockett. But I don't even know if that's quite enough to get it done for CMC. Now, I will say, we talked about this yesterday. This team is 2-6, my team. So I am in a position where I need to win. Like I need to win right now. It doesn't matter if I have CMC going into the playoffs.
If you're not in the playoffs.
If I'm not in the playoffs, right? If I'm not in the playoffs. We talked about that a little bit yesterday.
I see before we continue on these trade talks, I see Nathaniel in the chat was asking, do I trade Justin Jefferson for CMC? Yeah, I think that's a totally fair trade. These are two guys who are at the top of their position groups. Swapping them is if it gives your roster a tactical advantage, then I'm all about that. I think it's a smart move.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I don't know if I'm making this trade, but there's nothing unfair about that trade. You are winning either way, depending on what your team needs more. Like if those are top tier players, I think you can maybe get a little bit more for, like, I think you could get a slight plus, like an add-in if you wanted to, because I do think the running back position, especially the top of the running back position, is so heavily valued, like just so unbelievably heavily valued.
Yeah. He said he does have Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs already. Then I think you're good. Wait, you're trade away Justin Jefferson for Christian McCaffrey. Already has Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. So that's where the tactical advantage part comes in, is if this doesn't balance out your roster, like if you have to now choose between starting CMC, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs week in, week out, and you're weaker at wide receiver, then don't make this trade. You agree with that, Simon?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. JL, I'm looking at this chart and I'm thinking back to what Alex said yesterday. Like whenever you're paying up for one of these top running backs, especially in like a 2-for-1 move, you generally trade value chart, Alex said, rule of thumb is it's generally around 30 to 40% overpay for some of these guys. So I'm just looking at the values here, and Christian McCaffrey is the top valued player. Number one, there's nobody valued more. He is going into his bye week, so maybe that affects it a little bit. You can't start him this week, but his value's at 76. And if we did 1.3 times that puts him at 98.8. I'm just doing this hypothetically. Let's look at what this looks like. So let's assume DeAndre Swift was the player you wanted to move here. His value's at 42. You also have Amon-Ra St. Brown on your roster sitting there at, they're both tier 3 players. So that would be DeAndre Swift at 42, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 49.5. I think I would do Christian McCaffrey for DeAndre Swift plus Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know they're both on the same team, but those are two good players I could start. I don't know if you're willing, if that's too much of an overpay for you. Because it is an overpay, but I think Christian McCaffrey requires an overpay.
I think he requires an overpay too. I think 30 to 40% is too rich, in my opinion. Here, at least for what it makes sense for my team, I'd be upgrading from DeAndre Swift to CMC, which is, I think, is a sizable upgrade. But I also see why Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 8 wide receiver the rest of the season. And so I feel like his value is pretty up there. Just looking at the chart here, he's at tier 3, according to Alex's trade value charts, very top of tier 3. He dropped down about 5 points this past week for the weak performance, but I think I would be, I'm semi-interested in that, Simon. Would you be willing to throw another piece onto that on your side to balance it out a bit? Or is that like the overpay minimum that you're willing to go?
It depends. It depends what that piece is. I am willing to throw a piece on, but like, as I've already shown you on my team, like I can't sacrifice much depth is the problem, right? Like my team lacks depth. So part of this trade is like building some of that for me. So like there are pieces I can move, but it has to be someone that's not like, I don't even know what you would be interested in. Like, one of the players on bye would make sense. Like I could throw a Cortland Sutton in, maybe like a Christian McCaffrey plus Cortland Sutton for DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That would make sense. Cortland Sutton he's had good games. I know it's been disappointing recently with Russell. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like Cortland. There's a reason his value's lower, right? There's a reason he's dropped on the charts, and it's because his Broncos offense sucks. But we also have seen Russell Wilson hyper-target Cortland Sutton earlier this season. And if this Broncos offense can get it together, it's probably going to require Cortland Sutton to do so.
I think I might be willing to do that, Simon. I think that might make sense for my team. My only issue is that, like, I understand, you wanted to have the depth here. I think my biggest concern is like my running back depth. And so doing this trade doesn't necessarily help me in that regard, but it does remove some of that risk with DeAndre Swift and give me some more, less risk with CMC. I can shore up that running back position. What is their bye situation like? Because I think that's part of this.
CMC and Cortland Sutton are on bye this week. Both of them are on bye.
CMC and Cortland Sutton are on bye this week.
So you would be trading
Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift already went through their bye.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think I could do this trade this week then, because I think I would put me in the same situation that you're in, which is that I would need a starting running back.
Yeah. What is your record in this league? You're 5-3. Okay. So you're not sitting there at like 7-1 where you can maybe just like eat a loss this week with the bye weeks. But man, your team adding Christian McCaffrey would be scary. Would be scary. I understand what you're saying though. I'm not saying you're saying you should make the trade. Just saying like that's a scary team. It almost makes me question it because Coop always talks about building a behemoth, right? Joe Mixon, CMC with the receivers that you have, like still, even moving Amon-Ra St. Brown, you still have killer receivers in that league.
I'd say if you're willing, Simon, let's revisit this next week. Let's revisit this trade. And if it still makes sense for both of us, we both still like it, then we can do it then. And I think it's a little even out the playing field a bit on the buys, unless that you were counting on that for like the value for the trade. I'd say let's revisit it because I think I'd be much more willing to do it next week when I'm not just like put into a situation where I now need to start Nyheim Hines as my RB2 this week.
We'll get some. I'm okay with that. The buys definitely are a part of like the value for me. Know what I mean? Like the buys are definitely part of the value. Like it makes it more appealing getting rid of these players right before their bye week for 2 players that have already had it. Like that adds value to your side in my mind. It made it me more willing to throw Cortland Sutton in as that additional piece. But the other part is we'll probably get a little bit more clarity on DeAndre Swift's injury by that point as well. Know what I mean? Like, is he fully healthy? Is he getting a full workload?
And Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, we'll get to watch them both this weekend and without TJ Hawkinson. So there will be a little bit more information, and nothing's going to change about Christian McCaffrey's status unless he gets injured between now and then. So I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about that happening. So we can do that, JL.
All right. I like that. I like this, Simon. It's good trade talks.
Good trade talks. So we didn't quite get it done, but we've got a pending trade, and it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
A CMC trade, though, that's scary. That's scary. But with TJ Hawkinson gone, and DeAndre Swift being the talent that he is, I think it could be enough to make it make sense.
And maybe next week, we get to it and it's like, now it's not as much value for you. Then, at least we have a starting point to kind of build off of, right? Like maybe there's a variation of that we can go with. But we can see next week how we feel about it.
Absolutely. Tanner in here said, I traded Fournette and Josh Palmer for Josh Jacobs. W or L? It's a W for me, my man. I like going to get Jacobs.
Big dub. Get rid of that risk with Fournette. Joshua Palmer is a temporary value right now. He's not going to have trade value after a couple weeks.
And great job trading for Josh Jacobs after the low week because he's still getting all the work in that offense. And that was one of his few bad weeks this season. Guys, coming up, our friend Joey is coming back on for the rest of the show, and we are going to play some games. We'll be answering questions from Reddit and playing our new game, Fast Time, Quick Guy. And then getting into some poll perception as well. And then, of course, breaking down tonight's Thursday night football game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Houston Texans. Guys, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
A 60-year-old dude eyeballing it. And then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't,
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators They know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joe, there he is. I was looking at the screen and Joey was here. Then I looked away and he was gone. What's up, Joey?
I got booted. I tried to put my thing in dark mode, and apparently the system said, no, you will not be doing that today. So here I am with my today.
So brave.
Yeah. Does my microphone sound good? Do I sound great today?
You sound fantastic.
That's how I like to sound. Fantastic.
You
guys, how are you doing this morning?
Look, and that's a compliment about your looks, not an insult on your sound.
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna steal that
sound good as well. Tommy here did have a question for us. Let's kick it off with this. Tommy wanted to know, better chance of happening tonight: Texans upset undefeated Seahawks, or Simon watches Shawshank? Joey, what do you think? Which one of those is a more likely outcome tonight? The Eagles are 14-point favorites over the Texans tonight on the FanDuel Sportsbook. 14.
So I think the more likely thing to happen is the Eagles go up by like 24 and Simon turns on Shawshank. It's like, all right, this game's out of hand. Let's find out what this redemption is all about at the Shawshank.
Yeah, I'm going to let you know right now. If the Eagles are up 24, unless they do that in the first 3 minutes of the game, if I turn on Shawshank, I will fall asleep within 5 minutes of this starting. A movie at nighttime is a surefire way to make me fall right asleep.
That's like my mom. She can't watch movies at night.
My roommates used to always joke, we tried to watch 300 like 300 times and I fell asleep every single time. Like I've seen
300 times.
I've seen the first 5 minutes of 300 so many times. I just have never gotten past it. I just kept conking out.
That's hilarious.
Over and over and over again. Also, Scott Fish in here saying that as someone who did the downs and chains for his son's flag football league all season, he takes that break as shots fired and slander. Well, Scott, I got news for you. It was shots fired and it was slander. That's exactly how he meant it. It was a personal attack against Mr. Scott Fish because you know what? He had it coming. He's been getting away with it for too long. That Scott Fish guy.
Everyone says he's so nice. We know the real you, Scott.
We know, Scott.
We know.
Guys, we are about to get into one of our new segments that we are calling We Answer Reddit. It's where we answer Reddit's questions. Reddit's got a ton of questions out there. And yesterday we answered one of them or two.
Somebody's got to help them.
But we talked a lot about chicken. We really helped the chicken guy out yesterday, JL.
We really did. Thorough chicken answer.
Me and you helped him out. Hal came on and helped us help him out. Everyone had a chicken story to help this guy.
Help him out.
Hal helped us help him out is what happened whenever he came on here. But today we got a couple more questions I think we wanted to answer. And we saved this because we knew we needed Joey's help.
I want to help Reddit.
You guys want to get into them?
Let's get into it.
Okay, you want me to say them? I got you. All right, guys. Here's your first question from Reddit. Reddit, all these questions, we are here to help them. If you were immediately sent back in time 5,000 years, how would you leave your sign? How would you leave a sign of your existence? So if you were immediately sent back 5,000 years ago, how would you leave a sign of your existence?
Do I have like what's on my body with me traveling back in time?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assumption.
Am I affecting does my disappearance?
I don't know why you guys are asking me. I don't know.
Well, this is more like trying to think through this question.
Okay.
Does my disappearance like disrupt the time prior to when I disappeared? Like I'm wondering how these time travel rules work. Like I go back in time. Do I have the ability to like change the future from that point because I'm back in time?
No, because that would create a time paradox. Let's
avoid time paradoxes.
Yeah, let's assume string theory here, which solves most of the time paradox here. If we just assume that is how reality works. If you're not familiar, string theory is that there's just many different branches, infinite number of branches. Every decision creates a new branch point, and each one of those is its own universe. So you're going back in time to this universe, but 5,000 years ago on a different branch.
Okay, so I'm looking up the year 3000 BC to see
5,000. Okay,
what was going on
years
around
ago.
there.
I was about to really embarrass myself and talk about pilgrims, but that was only like 500 years ago.
Fantasy Dog says Stonehenge, but I'm old and feeble. Mini Stonehenge. Mini Stonehenge.
You got the time frame right, Fantasy Dog, because that's right around when Stonehenge was built. They're saying that was started being built in 3000 BC. There was early agriculture started in northern Africa. So this is way back, JL. This is like very back in time. This is like ancient Egyptian times. Troy was founded around this time.
Troy King?
Troy King was founded around this time. Hieroglyphic writing in Egypt started around this time between 3000 and 2000 BC.
When did the Easter Island, the head statues come into this mix?
Yo, I got a podcast to send you, Joey, if you want to hear about the whole story of the Easter Island heads.
I feel like I'm going to leave my mark to do something with them because I feel like they're there.
You're looking straight for a collab, like right off the bat. You're like, who can I collab with on this? I mean,
the best project things are collabs, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Will plastic and or like my phone degrade over the course of 5,000 years before people find it? Like, I'm just asking, like, scientifically, like, will they disappear? Or like, if I buried my phone, like if I just spent my entire life digging a hole and then buried my phone and hoped someone would find it 5,000 years later, do you think that would work?
I don't know if he's listening because I haven't seen him in the chat yet, but if Ed is in the chat, Dr. Microanalysis, he would know the answer to that question.
Because I think that's my move, is like my phone and my AirPods and stuff are useless while I'm there now. I'm imagining just nothing's working 5,000 years ago. I'm not going to be able to charge it. I'm trying to put my phone somewhere where like later in the future, they're going to find this amongst all the other like mixed in with, like, maybe I chuck it into a tomb. I try to like get to Egypt and I try to chuck my phone into a tomb or like give it as a gift.
What the heck is this PlayStation Portable doing in here?
That's what it. Oh, but they have to know it was me. It's how do I let them know of my existence? Well, I disappeared.
Simon into the back.
Carved Simon was here onto my phone,
and they're like, oh wait, this isn't a real tomb. This is just something someone created.
Yeah, they would probably assume that someone just like some jackass tourist threw their phone into the pyramid, and not that it had been there for centuries.
Yeah, Fantasy Dog said, "Put it on top of my Stonehenge." That might work.
Or jail. You know what? We're going a different route here. I was so worried about leaving a sign. Leave your mark on history and make it apparent that you're from the future. Know what I mean? Like, have people have to have conspiracy theories about you for the rest of your life. I don't know what that knowledge is, but I bet with the knowledge I have of 5,000 years later, like, I don't want to brag, but I was a certified junior master gardener. So I know how to like plant plants and stuff. And this is around the time agriculture was invented. I could blow some minds with the agriculture I could do. I'd plant a pepper garden. We would be all of a sudden, and then I think I could work my way up to a world leader of something.
Be like, guys, like we should create these little vehicles that fly in the sky. You could just come. You could be king if you went back 5,000 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. I become king, and then I let people know I'm from the future, and I say ridiculous things like very specific things that are going to happen in the future that people would have no idea about happening. Like Brent Venables, like I would give just specific details about football that I remember, and then people would have to remember that it was me.
They'd be like, what is football?
What is football? Why is this guy making predictions about it?
All right, I think we answered that one. I think that one was pretty clear. We're gonna go back. We're just gonna dominate, become kings with our knowledge.
I think that's the move.
All right, so let's get into the next one here. If I can click it, I can't click it. Here we go. All right, guys, you just died and an end screen showed up. Which stats are you most interested in?
How dirty can I get? No.
As much as you want. This is a dream of mine that whenever you die, you're able to have just like a book of every statistic, everything that measured about what you did in your life or just in general, the world.
Isn't there something like this in like Sideways Stories from Wayside School. Did you ever read that book as a kid, JL?
I did read that book.
No.
And there's like a kid that shows up at the pearly gates or something, and like St. Peter tells him, like, in your life you grew 17,464 hairs on your head. Like starts just naming. I think that was Sideways Story.
50 times your whole life.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, and like I know. You know what I'm going to say. I want to know the volume of poop that came out of my body during my life.
An interesting metric.
I want volume. I want it in gallons. And then I also want, like, I want it to come with a converter with, like, all the options. Like we're
all
dead.
The dimensional analysis.
I want to be able to see, like, how many Olympic-sized swimming pools did I fill? Like how many gallon bottles did I fill?
How many Atlantic Oceans?
Yeah, like what percentage of the Atlantic Ocean did I fill with that? That's what I would want.
Scott Fish, the comment went out of you. I want to read it because it's perfect here. I'm going to preserve something deep in the ice on the Arctic, and it should be melting out soon now.
Joey,
to see that.
I'm interested in the volume of poop. Which stat are you most interested in?
Like, this is going to sound really bad. Like, I love my wife. I just want to know, like, how many times that we shared a bed together. Like, because my wife and I, we always talk about this. Like, she's like, well, no, not tonight. And I'm like, you never know. This could be the last time. So, like, I'd like, because I'll probably, the amount of stress I put on her, she's going before me.
You never know.
So
this could be the last.
Yeah. And so
what a ploy.
So, like, you know, the amount of stress I put on her, she's probably going before me. So she'll meet me there. I probably won't be standing at the pearly gates for long, so I'll probably be going somewhere else. But I'd like to point at the screen and be like, see, I told you it wasn't that much. That's where my head's at.
All that just for an I told you so. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, what about you? You said this was a dream of yours. Which stat do you want to see the most?
It's so difficult to choose. I think a lot of mine will come into like interactions or like things I've said. I'd be interested to know, like, how many times did I say this word? How many times did I?
Oh yeah.
How many times did I fart? How many times did I hang out with Simon? How many times did I tell Joey smells good?
You know, one thing I'd like to see is how many times we haven't allowed Scott Fish on the show. That'd be a nice stat I'd like to see.
Too high of a number. I don't even think eternity is enough to count that.
You know, there's a vanity one that just came to mind. Like, just out of pure curiosity, I want to know how many times someone thought I was hot. Like, how many times did someone just in the wild, like another person, think I was a hot man? Like, I want to know that. I want to see that number. It's probably going to hurt my feelings a little bit, but that's okay. I want to know.
Over under 45.
Over. Sounds a good looking guy.
Over under 200.
I can name 45, I think.
Wow.
No, I didn't mean it like Joey. This is not the same as your
mom.
stat. My grandma said I was handsome. My Oma also said I was handsome.
Dog.
My aunts told me I was ugly, though. Oh, except for that one aunt. She thought I was pretty cute. No, I don't know. I think that's the move. I want to know how many people think I was hot.
I like that. That's a good one. That is a good one. All right. I think we answered that one.
Yeah, we helped him out. We got one
more.
more.
Welcome, Reddit. You're welcome. Yeah, I got one more. Let's do this one. All right, guys. Here's your next Reddit question. You invented the what if machine and can watch any what if scenario. What do you watch first?
Ooh, like from Futurama, where they like the hypothetical machine. Ooh,
What do
you know what?
First?
I think of like major split decision points in my life. Know what I mean? Like decisions that I made that truly impacted the course of my life. And the first one that comes to mind is my college decision. Like where I decided to go to college. It came down to two schools about as different as they can be. Clemson, which is the big Southern football school, like engineering and ag, like it was originally an A&M school, or agriculture. Like it was originally South Carolina A&M, and it's in their charter. They always have to have an agriculture program. They always have to have an ROTC program, and they always have to have an engineering program in order to receive funding from the state. So like that's the kind of school, huge football school with like agriculture, engineering, and military background. Or my other option was Fordham University in New York City. Like living in New York City at a small liberal arts school.
Isn't that liberal arts?
Yeah, I was going to do a program there. I'd gotten accepted to a program where you do 2 years there, 3 years at Columbia, and you leave with
Lego builders.
Exactly, a Bachelor of Arts in Lego building from Fordham, and then a Bachelor of Science in Lego building from Columbia. Is what you left with after that. But I decided not to. I want to know how my life would have turned out if I would have gone to New York City for college.
You'd probably be wearing a scarf right now.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have made it through college if outside of my campus was New York City. Clemson's 6 bars were already a little bit too much for my 18-year-old self. Like, know what I mean? Just what was going on down there.
Yeah.
I would want to watch that I really think it would be confirming the decision I made. I think that what if scenario would play out and I'd be like, huh, good choice, Simon.
Good choice, Simon.
What about you, Joey?
Well, I got to bring it back and save my marriage somehow today, so I'm going to do that. But no, seriously,
what if I married someone else?
No, my wife and I, we had no, it's not that. My wife and I had 2 misconnections before we met, and we met on my very first day of working at Lowe's in college, and it was the only day she ever worked the front counter at this Italian restaurant. It was a Fazoli's. I shouldn't say. I mean, Fazoli's they're all over, but she worked at Fazoli's. It was the only day she ever worked the front counter. Every other day of her entire career with Fazoli's, so 3 years there, she was always in the back. So I went to that counter that day, and it was the first time that I remember meeting her. And if I wouldn't have gone into the Fazoli's that day, and if I'd have gone to McDonald's instead, would I have ever met my wife? Like, so I've had this question asked to me, and that's always the thought I go to.
You'd probably be wearing a scarf right now if you didn't.
Probably. I mean, I probably wear a scarf anyways. Like, honestly, I kind of like scarves. So
we already hit our scarf quotient on the show today whenever Coop came on. That was enough scarves for one morning show. I think it's your day tomorrow, though, Joey.
I put in the comments, like, every day that Coop spends in Europe is a day closer to him possibly getting Midsommar. Like, it could happen. Like, and I kind of hope it does because this chair is comfy.
That would be.
This chair's comfy.
I hope he films it if he does, because what a great movie. If I could get a sequel, like a Blair Witch style sequel from Coop of Midsommar, Blair Witch meets Midsommar starring Andrew Cooper, count me in. What if? Man, there's so many what if. And does this just have to include my life, or can this include any life?
I'm guessing Reddit doesn't really care what we would choose.
Yeah.
As our what if, but more, I guess maybe more so like global stuff. I don't know. I'm like you guys. I would immediately go to my own life, just be like, all right, like what would happen if I got a film degree?
What would have happened with Ross and Rachel if she didn't get off the plane? Like, these are the things I think about.
There you go. That's when you could imagine.
It would have broken up.
Spoilers
again.
For anyone that's never seen Friends.
Would have found
she
another.
gets off the plane.
Well, I'm just over. What would happen if I never paid $17 to go see Now You See Me 2 in theaters? Is what I want to know.
So good.
I would be some. That's my one regret in life. That's the one thing I truly regret, and I would like to know what would happen if that happened.
Oh, I've got another personal one. I didn't want to go to the movies. I wasn't feeling too great the day that my Jurassic Park came out, and my grandfather's like, "No, let's go. It's just a cold. I think you'll be okay." And that day changed my life. I talk about that day a lot. I fell in love with the movies that day, and that's such a huge part of me. So if I wouldn't have gone to the movies that day, I'd have probably gone 3 days later and seen it, and then that moment would have been then. But you know,
so those are movies behind you.
They're laser discs. Yes.
Oh.
I always thought those were magazines. I thought that was a magazine anthology behind you.
I thought I saw people back then.
I have a magazine collection, but I can't show that on Better Sports.
Guys, we are going to play our new game. And Joe, you might just tell us a little bit more about that in this new game.
Oh, God.
Our new game is called Fast Time Quick Guy. Fast Time Quick Guy. JL hosted this one last time for myself and Coop. But how this game works is I'm going to ask you guys a series of rapid fire questions. JL's going to go first, then Joey's going to go. You have to say the first thing that comes to your mind. Speed is the primary goal here in answering these questions. Speed is the primary goal here when answering these questions. So, you guys ready?
Scary. This is terrifying. Ready. Let's do it.
JL, are you ready? You're up first.
Yes. Okay. Speed. Quick guy, fast time. Quick guy, fast time. Let's do it.
Okay, JL. 3, 2, 1, go. Hairiest part of your body.
Arm.
Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre?
Aaron Rodgers.
What's the sexiest vegetable?
Zucchini.
Favorite childhood TV show?
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Last thing you blamed on your dog?
Farted.
How do you sleep? On your side, back, or stomach?
Side.
Football player most like you?
Stephon Diggs.
Worst fashion or hair decision you've ever made?
Lip ring.
Obscure talent that you have?
Drawing stick figures.
Last time you felt really old?
Yesterday.
Last time you fought, or last person you fought?
Maria.
Worst advice your parents gave you?
Go to school.
Okay, good job, JL.
I'm so scared.
Did you say zucchini or cucumber for the sexiest vegetable?
I said zucchini.
What makes it so much sexier than a cucumber? I'm just curious.
God, it doesn't even stand a chance against a cucumber.
Is it because
cucumber
it's a squash? Squash is a sexy word.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Dale likes getting squashed, and so he loves the zucchini because it's in that squash family. That was pretty good, Dale. I'm impressed. There were some tougher questions in there, but you did a pretty good job. Joey, that means it's your turn. Are you ready for your fast guy quick time?
No. Yes, I'm ready.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Who's your favorite Muppet?
Kermit.
What's your signature dish to cook?
Shrimp scampi.
Worst pickup line you've used?
Hi, my name's Joey.
Favorite childhood TV show?
Saved by the Bell.
Which Looney Tune would you want to be your franchise quarterback?
Daffy Duck.
Something you're really bad at but still love to do?
Making love to my wife.
The most sexy mascot?
The Western Kentucky Big Red.
The most extraordinary way you would want to die?
Making love to my wife.
Pop star you would let beat you up just so they would touch you?
Michael Jackson. I don't know why I thought that first.
Fishing or hiking or doing drugs?
Oh, hiking.
A Christmas lingerie, yay or nay?
Yay.
Weirdest thing a doctor has said to you?
Bend over.
A place you're tempted to go streaking through?
That doctor's office.
Perfect.
I don't know. The first thing you said, first thing that came to my mind. So.
Oh my God, Joey, you won. You win, Joey.
You said Michael Jackson. I don't know why I said that.
No, so we'd like to talk about poop on this show, and I actually went through like a really stressful move when I moved from Cocoa Beach to Orlando, and new job, like new girlfriend, like just a bunch of stuff changed in my life, and I didn't poop for 2 weeks, so I had to go see a doctor, and he said bend over, and then he helped.
And then you streaked, and then you streaked immediately after that.
And Simon has left the show because apparently
Simon has left the show. Fantasy Dog.
What's up, dog?
It just went away. Fantasy Dog said JL fought a girl. Yeah, that was the first thought went to my mind was, who did I fight last? Oh, my fiance. And then he also said his name is Joey. Correction. Wow. And Brendan in here saying, do you guys think Brandin Cooks plays tonight?
That's something I'm keeping my eye on. I'm glad that it's Thursday when we have to make that decision, because we'll know going up to game time. But he doesn't seem very happy.
No, I think he's in questionable the last 2 days. So we got to keep an eye on if he practices today. Monday, he practiced. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, he did not practice. And so it's alarming. And then the teams that he's questionable for the game this Thursday, it's trending in the wrong direction. It's trending towards, no, I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah. And I'm like, just don't start him. Like, it is how I'm feeling about it right now. Like, the Seagulls defense is pretty good. Brandin Cooks is obviously upset with the team, hasn't practiced the past 2 days. We do not have, like, just don't start Brandin Cooks this week. This is a wait and see how it plays out. Even if he's playing, I'm just not plugging him in. I feel like he's so upset. It could be okay, I'm done now kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could happen during the game. I'm staying away from that.
Like, just quits on his team kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Not that I blame him. I'm not saying that in any negative towards Brandin Cooks. We don't know exactly what's going on with the Texans, and he seems pretty upset. Just something that could happen. No blame thrown his way, though.
I forgot to mention this. Tim, when we were doing the What If Machine Reddit question, said, what if my fingers spontaneously turn into spaghetti whenever ghosts were near? That would be a cool scenario to play out.
Yeah, that would be a cool scenario to play out.
I missed him so much.
Here's a what if. What if the waitress at Chili's told Tim that, in fact, there was a secret menu, and thank you so much for asking? Because when we were at Chili's as a team in Canton, the waitress came over, takes all the orders, and Tim goes, excuse me, is there a secret menu? And the waitress just looked at him like, no, this is Chili's. Like, there isn't a secret. But what if she had said, like, what if that had, like, unlocked a magical world? Like all you had to do was ask at
she just, like, freezes, and then like a door. Everybody in the restaurant freezes. They're all robots, and then like a door in the corner of the restaurant just slides open.
Yeah, that waitress she wasn't a big fan of us, if I remember correctly. Like, she was not used to that many questions about food.
About the secret menu.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. All right, Simon. You are not getting out of this one. Are you ready for your fast?
Yeah.
Quick time.
I'm ready. I put you guys through that. I probably need to do it.
All right, Simon. Remember, answer as quickly as you possibly can.
God, I'm tired, so this is dangerous.
All right, let's start. I don't know that it could be worse than Joey's. Tommy in the chat said over under on Joey sleeps alone tonight. I'll take the over on that one.
Nah.
All right, Simon. 3, 2, 1. Penalty you want removed from football.
Pass interference.
Would you rather be trapped in the internet or in Joey's hat?
Internet, without a doubt.
You're honored by a sandwich shop. What's on the Simon?
Cheese and lactate that helps you process cheese.
Movie you hate even though you've never seen it.
Shawshank Redemption.
In the zombie apocalypse, which host lives the longest?
Joey.
Dumb reason you got detention or suspended.
I jumped over a fence at a Golden Corral on a field trip and broke it.
What is the worst possible name you might give your child?
Klamis.
Which fast food chain that is most like your sex life?
Popeyes.
What is your most gullible moment?
Most gullible moment. I thought Luncheon was pronounced Luncheon.
What were you doing when you were caught red-handed?
Looking at Pokemon cards that I had been buying with money secretly in high school.
Once a year, there's a Simon-based festival. What will people wear to celebrate you?
Denim.
Punishment you would give JL for being a bad boy.
So many spankings.
So many things.
So many spankings.
Oh, spankings. Somebody said so many things.
No, that's what she's going to be red.
Well done, Simon. Well,
is your love life like Popeyes because everybody lines up and nobody actually gets anything?
Exactly. Yeah. All 45 of those people earlier are waiting outside, and I come out and go, it'll just be 10 more minutes because I'm not direct, and then it just never, your food doesn't come out.
Yeah.
But then at the end, I give you a pecan pie to make up for it. That's usually what they do at Popeyes.
Got good biscuits.
You said Calamus. Worst possible name to give your child is Calamus. Calamus.
When I was a child, that was what I said I was going to name my future kid was Calamus. I don't know where it came from, but that was the name. And so this day, whenever my mom talks about my hypothetical children, she like that may one day come, she refers to them as Calamus. Little Calamus
and Calamus Jr.
Little Calamus is going to come on.
Is Calamus the guy that was in the stomach in the Ninja Turtles? Was that his name? Like, you know what I'm talking about? No, that was Krang. Krang. Okay. That's close.
I don't even know if Calamus is anything. Like, I don't know if it's
Clyde and Thomas, Tommy said. Calamus. I like the idea that you name, like, you have two kids. One's Calamus, one's Calamus Jr.
One's Calamus and one's Tide. Just makes up Thomas and Clyde the other way. But it's spelled Thyde, Tide.
Skyfish said Krang with a K. It's
Krang,
the worst child name you could give.
Krang.
No, Krang is the name of for Ninja Turtles. The little.
Oh.
Yeah.
It may also be the worst name you could give to a child as well. Name your child Krang.
Krang.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Travis in here said, should I run Gabe Davis or Joshua Palmer in my flex this week? What do you think, Joey?
Oof. I'm gonna stick with Gabe Davis. I do like the Joshua Palmer play the longer and longer this week goes on.
Man, Bills are 12.5-point favorites of the Jets, but Gabe Davis isn't the kind of guy that needs a ton of volume. He just needs one big play. And this offense seems like they like doing that regardless of the game script. Like that's how this offense works. They've got big plays bleeding out of this offense. I think I'm still going Gabe Davis as well. I do like the matchup for Palmer, but he's, like we said earlier, a top 30, top 32 kind of guy. Gabe Davis is in that wide receiver 2 range for me with the potential. I don't think Josh Palmer has it in him to be the number 1 wide receiver on a week. Gabe Davis does. Like, that's a possibility for him. And I like his floor as well.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Gabe Davis for me this week. The matchup is nice for Palmer, but it is still Gabe Davis. Hal in here asking, drop A.J. Dillon for James Robinson. Did you guys drop A.J. Dillon for James Robinson?
I would rather have Dillon. I really don't like James Robinson. Jacksonville let him go for a reason in my mind. And the last 3 games before he was gone was starting to show that. So
it's A.J. Dillon for me as well. There's a little bit too much uncertainty on the other side. So I'll take the security, even though it hasn't been great, of A.J. Dillon. Also, Fantasy Dog saying he got to go back to work. He said, love y'all. Just saying.
Thanks,
Fantasy too, man. We were doing
appreciate
3 different sizes of dogs.
And Travis, I appreciate it, gentlemen. We appreciate you, Travis. Great question. We love the questions. We love talking fantasy. Hal asking, is DeAndre Carter at play if Allen is out? It's probably flexible.
I like it more as a DFS play.
Yeah.
Like you looking for someone on the cheap to stack up elsewhere. DeAndre Carter is definitely somebody I like this week for that.
Yeah. Guys, coming up, we are going to play our OG game poll perception coming up. And then we've got a week 9 prop bet draft. And I believe we need to score our previous prop bet draft as well. And some people have to pay out on an impression bet. And for the love of God,
to do that,
please say I won. I have not checked yet. I do not like that SpongeBob. I lay in bed at night, Jail, and I think about that SpongeBob impression. Like as I'm about to fall asleep, it comes back in. It's like, remember that SpongeBob impression you did on the air? Remember when you tried to talk about Thanksgiving as SpongeBob and it just came off as you like shrieking instead of actually sounding like SpongeBob? So
that's awesome.
If I didn't win, Lion told me I did win. Guys, we'll also be breaking down this wildly exciting Thursday night football game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Houston Texans. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball story, I'm going to bring up.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas. Like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you know, want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with
us.
It's
one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Because we had a very important question from Tommy come in over that break. He has a fantasy question. He said, I have a fantasy question. A Cyclops and an Ogre get in a fight. Who wins? Joey, who wins between the Cyclops and the Ogre in this very important fantasy question?
Now, is it a Cyclops or is it Cyclops?
It's a Cyclops, I'm imagining. Like, I'm imagining these as two monsters. Like, not Cyclops the superhero, but like a one-eyed giant in the Cyclops.
Yeah. Versus an Ogre? Yeah, it's a Cyclops. Like I think of like the Ray Harryhausen Cyclops, giant coming out of the sea with a big eye. Yeah, he kills the ogre.
JL, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a Cyclops as well. It's one less eye to get poked out. Just tactical advantage.
I'm just going to go straight statistics here. The only advantage that an ogre has over the Cyclops is in their wisdom. And let me tell you, they're both pretty lacking in wisdom. But just pull up their stats. Someone did this for us. Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The Cyclops is stronger than the ogre in every single category. The ogre has slightly more wisdom, but they both lack wisdom. So it's just like one slight. Yeah, it's a wash. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then add on top of that, their size categories. The Cyclops is a huge giant, and an ogre is just a large giant. So they got the size advantage, they got the strength advantage, they got the intelligence advantage, they've got the charisma advantage. Like they're gonna make.
They got the advantage.
How good is this ogre at like throwing a spear? Because he's got one shot, and not going to throw away a shot. So he's just gonna, if he gets him right in the eye, then he stands a chance. But other than that,
Hal is hardcore. He said F 5th edition, go 1st edition. The people that play 1st edition Dungeons and Dragons are wild to me. The amount of work in those tables, the number of tables that you have to manage, the amount of pencil and paper required to play 1st edition. There are some purists who swear by it, but God, that is so much work. Hal, you are hardcore if you play 1st edition. That is freaking awesome. He said, I still have my DM guide and player handbook. That's pretty sick. A 1st edition DM guide and player handbook. When
we start playing a fantasy football D&D on this show.
Oh, because it'll be loose 5th edition whenever we're doing that. It's 5th edition. It's 5th edition Simon rules is what we're doing. Is how we're playing that. Guys, we're about to get into our next game, our OG game, Poll Perception. It's the game that tests your ability to understand the public's perception of fantasy football and NFL players, and sometimes some other stuff. JL's going to be running this game for us, but before he does that, I'm going to explain how this game works. JL found some juicy, succulent, delicious polls on the internet before today's show. He's going to propose a poll to one of our contestants. He may ask me, Simon, what percentage of people chose side A in this poll? I'm going to give you the percentage that I think chose side A. Always side A. Joey, your job is then going to be guessing whether the actual answer is over or under the line that I set. So I'm setting the line. You're giving the over under. We'll alternate going back and forth. The closer I am to the actual number, the more points I'm going to get. A max of 10 if I'm exactly right. 0 if I'm more than 15 away. Joey, you'll get 2 points for correctly picking the over under. We'll go like this until our last poll, where we will both write a number down and JL will say words while we are thinking. And then the person that's the closest in that round will get 5 points, 10 if they're exactly on. The contestant with the most points at the end is our poll perception champion. You guys ready?
Nice
I have a question.
Easy.
Yes, Joseph.
Are we doing OG rules? Can we queen bee? Can we?
You can queen bee.
Oh,
yeah, we're playing poll perception.
Playing poll perception, of course.
I forgot the queen bee rule. I always forget the queen bee rule. You don't just have to guess over under. If you think your opponent's guess is exactly spot on, you can queen bee it and say it's equal. Statistically improbable, because even if it's a good guess, it's very this is not a science. This is an art, guessing these polls.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. All right, let's get into our first poll here. This poll, this one is for Simon. Simon, you are going first in this one. So you're setting the line here. Here's your first poll. Who would you prefer over the remainder of the fantasy football season? Tua Tagovailoa or Kyler Murray? What percentage of the public chose Tua Tagovailoa in this trade? And friendly reminder, play along in the chat. We love it when you play along. If you're closer than Simon or Joey here, we're going to shout you out.
Producer Keith said 30. Oh, wait, no, that's...
I'm sitting here thinking, I do think the perception has shifted. And I'm going to give the public credit on that because I think people were holding on to some hatred of Tua Tagovailoa, like belief that he was going to bust. But he made it pretty easy to convert this year. The Dolphins made it easy to start believing in him by adding Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle over the last 2 seasons. Kyler Murray has not looked great. DeAndre Hopkins being back helps him out a bit, but I think the sentiment has shifted towards Tua and away from Kyler, but we're still going to get some stragglers. I will say 61% on the Tua Tagovailoa side.
61%, locking that in?
Yeah, let's lock that in. I feel pretty good about that one. I'm feeling confident.
All right, Joey, was the actual percentage over or under, or exactly the same as Simon's guess of 61%?
And this is for fantasy, right?
And this is for fantasy. Yes, fantasy football. Since I can't put it up on the screen, I will read this again. Who would you prefer over the remainder of the fantasy football season?
Perfect.
Tua Tagovailoa or Kyler Murray? What percentage of the public chose Tua Tagovailoa on this? Simon gets 61%. So you're guessing over, under, or queen bee that 61% on the Tua
I don't
side.
think Simon's guess is bad at all. I really don't. I just think it's a little bit closer. So I'm going to like more to 50-50. So I'm going to say under, but not by much.
Taking the under. The under. All right. We got a couple guesses here in the chat. We got 62% from Hal. He said, but who put out the poll? Now that they guessed, I will tell you this poll comes from Dave Kluge, good friend Dave Kluge. Dustin guessing 72%. So some high guesses here. Simon, you get 61% of people chose Tua Tagovailoa as the quarterback they would rather roster over the remainder of the fantasy football season. Joey, you think the actual answer is under Simon's guess of 61%.
I do.
The actual percentage of people who chose Tua Tagovailoa in this poll was 63%. Ooh. Simon, you are 2 percentage points away, which is going to give you a cool 5 points. And
excellent guess, Simon.
You edged out Joey. Joey, you incorrectly guessed the over under, and so you're going to get no points here.
At least someone's edging Joey out.
At least someone is. Someone
Simon,
other than himself.
And Hal, shout out Hal in the chat. 62%. Nice job. I had a great guess, but you one up to me, Hal. You got me.
Way to one up, Hal. Well done, Simon. That's going to put you in the lead here against Joey.
That hurts double because it was Dave Kluge's poll, and I probably retweeted it. So that really just kicks me in the booty.
Kicks you in the booty. It's all right, Joe. You're going to have a chance to redeem yourself here.
Okay.
As we go into our next poll, here it is. This one is for you, Joey. Who has the throw of the year so far? Who has the throw of the year so far? Geno Smith, Josh Allen, PJ Walker, or other? What percentage of the public chose PJ Walker in this poll?
Okay, so PJ.
Sorry, I totally messed that up. Let me rephrase that. This is my bad. Who has the throw of the year so far? PJ Walker, Geno Smith, Josh Allen, or other? What percentage of the public chose PJ Walker in this poll?
So here's my thinking on it. I like to go. I have 4 options, so I'm giving 25 to each. Pull away from a little elsewhere. I'm going to go 30% PJ Walker because of recency bias. That's the most recent one to happen. So people, it's fresh in their minds. They're excited about it, so they're going to vote on it. So I'm going to say 30% PJ Walker because I think others going to get quite a bit in this as well. I guess we'll see.
So 30%?
Yeah.
30% PJ Walker. Simon, is the actual percentage over, under, or queen bee? Joey's guess 30%.
30%. Man, it should be 100%. It should be 100% PJ Walker. That was the throw of the year. I don't even care what other throws are made. It went like 67.5 yards in the air, rolling out to his left with defenders chasing him down, perfectly placed in the pocket. Less than 30 seconds left. What should have been a game-winning touchdown. Over. And the more I talked about it, the more confident I be. Like, it was so sexy. There's not another throw. I haven't watched the Geno Smith pass 100 times. I've watched that PJ Walker pass 100 times.
So you are taking the over on Joey's guess of 30%. We got some guesses here in the chat. We got 47% from Hal on the Peach side. Ooh. Tommy said 100% Peach. Love it. And Dustin said 15% on the Peach side here. Joey, you guessed 30% of people chose PJ Walker in this poll. Simon, you guessed the over.
I did.
The actual percentage of people who chose the Peach to Deej connection in this poll was 72%. Joey, you were 42 percentage points off, so no points for you this time. Simon, you correctly guessed the over under, giving you additional 2 points here.
Dustin is a was it a gypsy or not a gypsy, a fortune teller? He guessed 72 last time. He would have got
on
it
the last poll. Yeah, if he had done it on this poll, he would have wrecked us.
I'm just pooping the bed.
Sorry, we got another round and the final round, Joey. You're still in it. You're still in it.
I pulled it out at the last minute before, so
you got time to clean up.
Yeah,
Joey, have you pooped your pants as an adult man?
Oh, absolutely, I have. Would you like to hear the story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
So I used to work for Barnes & Noble, and I lived right behind the mall where the Barnes & Noble was. So I could either drive to work, and it would take me about 7 minutes, or I could walk, and it would take about 5. So I would just walk, good exercise. So I was leaving work, and the normal way through the back of the mall, they have, if you've ever been to a mall, if you've ever worked there, they have like these back channels, the hallways you can go through, so you don't have to walk through the mall and actually mingle with the peasants. You can just go through the back ways. So for some reason it was closed off. So I had to go all the way around, which took it about 15 minutes. And I had a little Tommy tremble right before I walked out of it. And I'm like, you know what? I can make it home. I made it as far as my apartment complex pool, and I went to step on a curb, and like, I mean, I'm sweating, like I gotta poop. And I missed the curb with my shoe and just crapped my pants.
Oh no!
Like just full fill them up. It was disgusting.
So fill them up.
Oh yeah. It all hell broke loose. So, but I was by the hotel pool, so I'm like, oh, there's a shower. So I go and like I shower myself off, but my shirt was completely like my shirt wasn't tucked in because I just got off work, so I'm being cool. I untuck my shirt. So my shirt was fine, but my pants and underwear destroyed. So I throw them away, clean myself off, and hold my shoes in my hand because my shoes were okay, and Porky Pig it in the dark back to my apartment. Nobody saw me.
What does that mean? So
that means I only had a shirt. I had nothing else on underneath.
You Winnie the Pooh?
That's incredible.
Yeah, so Winnie the Pooh or Porky Pig, depending if you like Looney Tunes or you like Disney cartoons. So yeah, Winnie the Pooh. I
love that we have multiple child show analogies for essentially indecent exposure.
You could also
the crime of indecent exposure.
You could Donald Duck it as well, right?
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't wear
Donald
pants.
Duck it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Donald Duck. That's true.
Shoes in hand, come up the door, open the door. My wife, we were engaged at the time. Were we engaged? Yeah, engaged.
And so she opens up, she sees your poopy butt.
And no, I cleaned it off because I had showered. I had used the shower. Right. So I was a clean boy. I was just a little embarrassed boy. And she opens the door and she looks at me and she's like, I don't even want to know. Cool. Like,
did you ever tell her?
Yeah, I told her. But she like sees me with
she doesn't want to know.
With my donger out. She's just like
donger.
Yeah. So
Dustin said, "Poop my pants on my honeymoon." I love it with like it's even better without any context. Just poop my pants on my honeymoon.
That's Joey, hilarious. I've had a nude moment due to pooping my pants where I just had to pray I didn't get seen either. I was at a high school in South Carolina for a wrestling tournament over the summer, and let me just tell you, cutting weight for wrestling really does some damage in your digestive system. Like your stomach isn't all great after you've lost 17 pounds in the last 8 days, right? Like it's not good. So I'm out there warming up for a match and I'm wrestling in like 6 minutes. Okay. Like it is starting soon. I'm the second match in this match. We're about to start. And I just like running around in my very light colored singlet. It is light gray spandex that I'm wearing.
Like Raiders silver?
Lighter. Like that's almost white. Like where it looks
Dallas Cowboys silver pants?
Yes, like Dallas Cowboys silver pants is what this was.
They're kind of greenish though.
And these
you see all the butt sweat.
Oh, they were so tight too. Like they like ordered them like a size too small or something. I'm running around warming up and I go to just cut a fart and it is not a fart. Full fill my singlet.
I'm just warming up and I go to cut a fart.
I go to the and you guys know how restrooms at public high schools are. It is not, there's no door. It's just an opening in the hallway that you walk into and round a corner and then you're in there, right? There's no privacy at a sink. So I shoved the boxers behind the toilet. I'm so sorry to the janitor at Fort Mills High School if you found
those. They never found those. They're still there.
I really apologize. And they were sock monkey boxers. I remember to this day because I loved those underpants. They had sock monkeys all over them.
There was a sock monkey in there when you were done with it.
My singlet is full of poop at this point. Okay. Like I have to wear it. Like I have to wear it. I'm wrestling in 5 minutes. So I go to the sink and the sink is one of those horrible ones where you have to like hold the button down. So I'm standing there butt naked. All I'm wearing is my headgear and my wrestling shoes, okay? In a public restroom at a sink, trying to hold this button down, scrubbing shit out of my singlet, just praying that nobody walks into this public restroom at a high school wrestling tournament with hundreds of people present, 90% of them male. Like, it seems like a 0% chance I'm going to get there. So, like, I finish cleaning it enough. It still smells a little bit like poop, but it's not visible. And then I go to dry it. And you know what kind of dryer they have? They've got the one where you push the button and it goes...
like real light.
Yeah, just real light, slightly warm, off-putting air. And I like stand there slamming the button. I put on my soaking
trying
wet,
to make it go faster.
I put on my soaking wet poop singlet and run out and just wrestle. You can see the giant wet spots from where I tried to clean it.
Did you win the match?
I did win the match, and I think it might have
Did the guy you wrestled say anything?
I know, but he probably should have. That was disgusting.
You probably smelled terrible.
Just disgusting. And Hal said, Simon, I've seen guys doing this at a tournament before, so maybe that's not.
This is a common
absurd.
thing.
You know, have you met Simon and like years ago? You just don't know that that's who it was.
Hal walked into the restroom, saw me.
It doesn't say next time I call in, remind me, and I'll tell you the story. That's a good reminder. If you got a poop your pants story, we want to hear it. Call in. Call into the show. Come over here and tell us about how you pooped your pants.
On our next break, I'm gonna text my friend Greg. It's happened to him a few times, and he's got a really good one.
He's got a doozy. It's gonna be tough to top yours, Joey. That one, the theatrics of that one, the missing the curb, and then
the missing the curb, and that leading to you just like misfiring all into your
so
pants
bad.
Is like the funniest part of that. Is missing because not only did you poop your pants, but you also tripped. You can't walk.
Yeah.
And that made you poop your pants.
We've all been there. It's like you're just sweating profusely because you just feel, and then you stop and you're like, oh, okay, I can make it a little bit further.
All right. Well, we are in the middle of a game of pole perception.
Oh, are we?
We got into a diatribe about pooping your pants.
Perception.
We were playing poop your pants. Joey, you are in a hole right now, my friend. You are deep in a hole. It turns out it's Simon's hole. He's beating you by 7 points, so you have to come back here. Simon, we're going into the second round. Do you want to do the new mechanic here?
Let's do the new mechanic. Let's do the new mechanic. Joey, there are now 2 more options available. You can guess way over or way under as well. Mm-hmm. If you think my guess is 15 percentage points or more off, guess one of those. You'll get 4 points if you're right. But let's say you guess way over and it's only 11 percentage points over, you're going to get nothing. Double or nothing mechanic right there. Also, I don't know why it made me laugh, but right at the end of that poop conversation, Jay came in. Hey, morning, guys.
Hey, morning.
He's like no idea what he was walking into.
Yeah,
you missed the tornado of poop stories.
Pooping stories. So they want to get a couple questions in between class. Yeah, throw them in the chat. We'll answer them in between our rounds of poll perception here. We got you, my friend. All right, Simon. This next poll is yours.
Let's do it.
All right, here it is. What will Calvin Ridley's 2023 ADP? What will be, Calvin Ridley's 2023 ADP? Third round,
Calvin Ridley's 2023
fourth round, ADP? Fifth round, sixth round, or later? What percentage of the public chose third round in this poll?
I don't know. We still don't even know if he's playing next year, right? Like we still don't even know if Calvin Ridley will play next year. What will his ADP be? This is one of the trickiest questions. Third round, with all the uncertainty surrounding him. Like, I'm glad you asked me third round because that seems unlikely. That seems unlikely that a player coming back after missing a full year on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there's still uncertainty around if he's going to play, will go in the third round. I'll say pretty low. I'm going to go 11% on the third round side. 11%.
Final answer?
Yeah. Final answer.
11%. All right, Joey, was the actual percentage who chose the third round option in this poll, over or under, way over or way under, or Queen Bee, Simon's guess of 11%.
So when we last saw Calvin Ridley, he was going in about the second or third round with Matt Ryan. And I think it could go to say with another season under Trevor Lawrence that Trevor Lawrence would be better to that point in his career now than Matt Ryan was to that point in his. So I'm actually going to go way over on this because, I mean, we've seen the talent from Calvin Ridley. I know he took a year off, and I also need to get some points. So I was trying to find the way to justify it in my mind to go way over. So I have reached that point.
Way over, locking that in?
So it needs to be 26 or over?
Yes,
yep.
26 or over.
And there was only 3 options?
4.
There was 4 options.
Third, fourth.
I feel good about it.
All right. We got some guesses here in the chat. 8% from Tommy, 21% from Hal. Some good guesses. Simon, you guessed 11% people chose third round as the draft that Calvin Ridley will be drafted in next year. Joey, you took the way over. You think it'll be 15 percentage points or higher than Simon's guess, 11%. The actual percentage of people who chose the third round option in this poll, side A, is 14%.
Ooh.
14%. So I'm sorry, Joey. The way over is not going to yield any points this time. Simon, you were 3 percentage points away. Going to give you another 5.
Oh my God.
It is
increase this hole.
It's on this fire over here. I am burning up in my office right now.
Well done, Simon. Yeah, I don't know that I balanced this game super well. That's all right. IDP Army in here saying, good morning, good morning. Good morning, my friend. Good morning.
How much am I trailing by?
12 to 0.
Oh, I can make that up. Here we go.
Yeah, just got to get this next one exactly correct.
Which he's done before.
Which you have done before. Let's answer these questions real quick for Jay before he has to go to class. Should I pick up Herbert or Deion Jackson from the waivers?
Khalil Herbert for me. Like, I like Deion Jackson. I think Deion Jackson should be rostered with Jonathan Taylor being hurt, Nyheim Hines being traded. But Khalil Herbert, you can start on Sunday. You can plug him into your lineup on Sunday if you want to. I'm not doing that with Deion Jackson unless JT's out.
100% what Simon said.
Yeah. Now I'm with you. I'm with you guys. And then another question, should I play James Conner or Josh Palmer in PPR if they're healthy? Joshua Palmer. James Conner has not been doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think Joshua Palmer.
It's Palmer. It's a good matchup, and he's the healthy wide receiver. Keenan Allen doesn't look like he's going to play. And Mike Williams, we know, is out.
Yeah.
So IDP Army said Herbert is a god. The Herbert contingency is strong. Like the people that love Herbert, like, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Me too. It's like sometimes those contingencies, like the Gabe Davis contingency, I was like, shut up.
Yeah. Too pretentious. The Khalil Herbert one, they're humble. They're humble.
They are
a humble crowd.
They're passionate but humble.
Exactly.
Kind of like Bills fans. They're like the Bills fans of player stands.
Who started? That's Coop's mentality. I don't know that that's like a general overarching thing that Bills Mafia are chill.
We've had this conversation, Jail, before that I was shocked when I found out that you had like disdain towards the Bills, because in my mind, they were just one of the most likable franchises. Like they were a franchise that I like to cheer for. But I get it, I guess. Or I get that you feel that way. I don't get the feeling, but I don't have to, because it's your brain.
Of all the teams I've gone to see the Bucks play against, the Bills fans were by far the nicest of all the other fan bases.
Really?
Hands down.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our penultimate poll here, Joey. This one is for you.
Whew, this is scary.
Who won the TJ Hawkinson trade? The Lions or the Vikings? What percentage of the public chose the Lions in this poll?
I'm not frozen. I'm really doing the numbers in my head. So I think the Vikings won this trade. I think they're getting a good talent. I think they'll utilize him correctly. Irv Smith is out, so there's a hole for him. So it's not like he has to play for playing time. So, okay. How much did the Lions lose? Can you refresh my mind? What did the Vikings give up?
I can, but you have to give me a second here because I don't have that info right in front of me.
I'm gonna free guess it here. I'm gonna say 23% Detroit Lions. Final answer.
Oh, fine. Okay. So you don't want that info. What was the number?
No, 23.
23%. Locking that in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Simon, was the actual percentage over, under, way under? Queen Bee, Joey's guess of 23% of people on the side A of this, which is the Lions. So who won the TJ Hawkinson trade?
Man, it feels like with this trade, perception of TJ Hawkinson shifted as well, right? Like it seems like because the Lions were willing to move him in division to another team, I've seen people going, well, then how good is TJ Hawkinson? Like, how much did the Lions really value him? Man, they got a second and a third back, I think, like a 2023 second and a 2024 third, I think is what the trade was, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be misremembering that. Joey, I think that was a pretty good guess. I'll take the slight over. I'm going to take the slight over because I think more people were down on TJ Hawkinson, and they'll say getting those picks was a good move for the Lions.
Scott Fish has shown us those picks now, and I'm instantly regretting what I said. It's all right. We're here to have fun, right?
We are.
We're here to win.
We're here to win. There's no fun here. We don't have fun. All right. We guessed. We got some guesses here in the chat. Tommy said 35%. Hal said 7%. 7% of people chose the Lions as the team that won this trade. Joey, you guessed 23% of people chose the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Simon guessed the slight over, or just the over. There's no slight over. The actual percentage of people who chose the Lions as who won the TJ Hawkinson trade was 25%. Well done, Joey.
Okay.
You were 2 percentage points away, which is going to give you 5 points. Simon cheated and got 2 points here by guessing the over-under correctly. Well done, Simon, keeping your lead decent.
I did it by cheating.
Did it by cheating. That brings the score. Simon has 14. Joey, you have 5.
Oh no. Okay, so you can
so
win,
beautiful.
Joey. You can
absolutely win.
This is how I won the when I got it right on. I hit it directly on in the final round to win by 1 point.
All right, contestants. You're going to write down your answer. This one is going to work a little differently than the previous rounds. Both contestants are going to give me a percentage guess. They're going to write it down, reveal at the same time. The closest contestant is going to get 5 points. If you get it exactly right, you're going to get 10 points. If you guys have the same answer, you're going to share the reward or lack thereof. Here is your poll, your final poll. Mac Jones is struggling because, ellipses, ... The Patriots broke him. He needs better weapons. He's lost it / stinks. Or Jets D is really good. What percentage of the public chose the Patriots broke him as the reason Mac Jones is struggling? And this poll was posted on Sunday, just so you know.
Okay. One more time with the options.
Mac Jones is struggling because A, the Patriots broke him. B, he needs better weapons. C, he's lost it / stinks. Or D, Jets D is really good. You're guessing what percentage of the public chose side A, which is the Patriots broke him.
I got to draw on my phone. 1 second. Just find something I can draw on. Okay.
Simon, you got your answer?
I got my answer.
Hot.
I got mine.
You got yours? All right. Yep. Throw your guesses here in the chat. I see a couple of them. Tommy says 12%. Eric, what up, Eric? Good morning. Said 18%. Joey says 23% of people chose the Patriots broke him. And Simon says 7%. 7%.
Do you see my illustration too?
That's Zappy and then Mac. Oh, that's so cute.
It's a podium. Zappy's on top, though. He's number 1. And
what
Mac
is he holding?
2. A football. Obviously,
and is Mac trying to catch it, or is he holding it so Mac can't reach it?
It's a calzone, and he's keeping it away from Mac. Actually,
Mac's like, give it to me.
The prize was a calzone. Jay said a taco. No, that would be the world's biggest taco.
All right, let's see. Joey, you guessed 23%. Simon, you guessed 7%. People chose the Patriots broke him as the reason Mac Jones is struggling. The actual percentage of people was 44%.
No! Oh, but yes!
So Joey was the closest, so he's going to get 5 points, but unfortunately, that won't be enough. The victory.
But I made it
will win this one 14 to Joey's 10. Well done.
Okay, I don't. 14
you made it respectable.
Good game, Simon.
It's like the Browns Bengals game. The Bengals made it look a little bit more respectable at the end of that game, but it wasn't close. The people who watched the whole game, they know
how. A lot of garbage time on my behalf today.
A lot of garbage time. Guys, if this is your first time here hanging with us, we just wanted to welcome you in right now. We're glad to be spending this morning with you. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. We are FYF. And if you like this game and enjoying what we do over here, make sure you head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy and hit that subscribe button, because we got plenty more like this over there. That's in here unlimited. Content. You could spend a couple hours playing those games. Guys, coming up, we've got our Week 9 Thursday night prop bet draft, and then we're going to be previewing this Thursday night game for tonight as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah until he was about 19.
Nice. So, your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to your wife. I would say about 13, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required. And then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of prep. And you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You don't need to be like right 100% of the time.
No, there was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to like, track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then like immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
satellite. Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, it doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right, he's coming over to spot it, and it's like every other time the player's just like, "Here you go. Here's another thing to juggle."
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Is it me, Ray, or is the only publicity that Microsoft Surface has gotten out of their whole thing on the sideline is people throwing them to the ground in anger? Is that just a me thing? Or the only time I hear about this device, Ray, is when somebody is chucking it on the ground, just pissed off at it, which I get it. All of us are in that world. We love to do that. Only in the NFL, Ray, can they get away with it because these are free. There's no cost. It's part of the sponsorship. Here's 5,000 Microsoft tablets to get you through the NFL season, and these players are just slamming them down. It's like they've become Dilbert on the sideline, and they're so frustrated. They're just the only publicity this company and this product has gotten is negative.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. How you doing, Dale? I just want a little check-in. Oh, that's how you're doing.
I'm doing good.
He just pooped. Yeah, it happened again. He actually just pooped his way out of the office and straight to the shower.
He's gonna come in just wet, soaking wet.
He comes back. You don't even know it, but he was actually Pooh Bearing already. So he didn't poop his pants. He just pooped in his desk chair. So he might be standing whenever he returns or sitting in it. What's up, Dave Kluge in the chat coming in with the sup boners? What's up, Dave? Welcome in.
Yeah, I texted Dave on the break and I told him we use this poll, and JL, he's going to be invoicing you.
So perfect. How much is that going to cost us?
I think $10 of cold cash.
10 colones.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if my Amazon Prime has been listening to me, but I'm getting Kohl's Cash ads like crazy before every show.
Kohl's Cash ads?
Kohl's Cash ad. It's not just Kohl's. It opens the ad is literally just a green screen with money, Kohl's Cash floating around it while they talk about Kohl's Cash. It's like a 16-second ad. That's
Kirk Cousins just swimming in Kohl's Cash.
It's just like Kirk raining down on him. Even there. If he was there, then maybe I'd be a little bit more excited. But it's just Kohl's Cash.
So I came in. You guys were already talking. Did you tell people what I was doing?
Yeah, we told them you. No.
Oh.
Nope, not at all. We did not say that you pooped your pants again and Pooh Bear straight to the shower to clean up.
I was close to it.
And that you're sitting in your poopy desk there.
We had a question come in the chat while Joey was pooping that I think we should answer right here. Brendan wanted to know Justin Fields or Kyler Murray this week. Joey, which way are you going? Justin Fields or Kyler Murray?
I am still probably going to side with Kyler. I think that game could be a shootout. I do like Fields a lot this week. Oh, yeah, it's still Kyler.
What about you, JL?
Still Kyler for me as well. Going against Seattle, it is a plus matchup. The total on this game is set at 49.5. So Vegas is expecting a higher scoring game. Kyler's been very decent in the later part of this, what we've seen so far this season. Justin Fields has looked decent too. His matchup isn't bad, so it's not far off. I think Justin Fields is a fine play this week as well.
Yeah, I actually made a trade to get Justin Fields for this week. I sent Eno Benjamin and I got Justin Fields to a team that was very running back needy, and I was extremely quarterback needy. So, and I'm happy to have Fields for the next few weeks.
Nice move. Nice move. I'm going Murray as well. I love Fields this week. This is not anti-Fields, but both of these players have a good matchup, and I'll take the one in the better offense. I'll take Kyler Murray. But good matchup for both these guys. There was another question in there from Brennan as well. He wanted to know Hawkinson or Higbee full PPR. So Hawkinson on that new team. Joey, you got the cojones to roll out Hawkinson week 1 in Minnesota, or are you going Higbee?
No, I want to give him a week to get acclimated with that offense he's had about a week, I guess now. But I'm going to roll Higbee out. He's been pretty dependable except for last week. But yeah, I'm good with Higbee.
Yeah, what about you?
Sorry, I was reading Dave's comments. It's $69 a poll. I can't tell if that's a deal or we're getting ripped off, but I think we got to pay for it, guys.
Either way, it's hot.
Either way, it's hot. Higbee or Hawkinson, yeah, I would also go Higbee and wait and see on Hawkinson. You guys think that he's going to be able to get immersed in this offense the rest of the season? Do you think he'll have fantasy value?
Tommy just brought up what I was about to say. Tight end is tough to step in and play. It's not like running back. That was like Amon Green yesterday was telling us, like, for running back, a lot of the plays are universal, right? Like you go from one offense to another. A halfback draw is a halfback draw no matter where you're going. But I don't think that same rule applies to tight ends. He'll be good. They'll be able to get him involved, but I don't know if we'll see him like fully integrated into this offense by season's end. I'm going Higbee as well here. We had one more question come in, another quarterback question. This one not as sexy, I think, whenever we were deciding between Fields and Murray. This one is Mariota versus Stafford this week. Joe, would you be starting Marcus Mariota or Matthew Stafford?
I'll be starting Mariota against the LA Chargers. This game, the total set at 49.5 as well. The Matthew Stafford's playing against Tampa Bay. The total set at 42.5. So Vegas is expecting a lower scoring game. Both of those offenses, the Tampa Bay and LA Rams, have just been sputtering out. It's just they haven't looked good at all this season. So them playing against each other is not exciting like it would have been last year. I'll go Mariota.
What about you, Joey?
Yeah, I've got Mariota 2 spots ahead of Stafford in the rankings this week.
It's a triple Mariota. He's got that rushing floor as well, which helps out whenever you're deciding between these two guys. Dude can run a touchdown in and add 50 yards on the ground, no problem, which you're pretty happy about. Guys, it is time for our Week 9 Thursday Night Football player prop draft. We did one on Monday for Monday Night Football. For everyone watching, we're going to pay out these bets tomorrow. We're going to pay these out. But what I want from you guys today is if you've got suggestions for the impressions, I want to get those decided today. And then the 2 losers will have a night to practice, and we'll get up here tomorrow and pay those out. Oh, Hal is a great guess. Mac Hollins versus Khalif Raymond as the impression bet or as a fantasy question? What do you think he means?
I could do a really good Mac Hollins impression.
You can? I could do a really good Khalif Raymond. I'd just run away.
I have no idea what either of these play. I've never heard either one of them speak, so that would be really difficult to do. But let's assume you meant it the other way for fantasy. Joe, Mac Hollins or Khalif Raymond?
I would start Mac Hollins this week. Mac Hollins going against Jacksonville.
What about you, Joey?
I'm going to go Khalif Raymond on this. He's been, the last 3 weeks, he's been pretty involved in this offense, and Josh Reynolds has kind of tapered off. Because I'm kind of scared of the Raiders offense right now. Mac Hollins has kind of been one of the bright spots, but yeah, I'm going to go Khalif Raymond.
We already have suggestions in here for the impressions. Hal with Miss Piggy. Tyson says, need another Chewbacca. Just need another Chewbacca in his life. And Jay said Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Yeah, and Joey calls Donald Duck the no pants.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't think Mickey Mouse. Is Mickey wearing pants?
Yeah, Mickey's wearing pants. He's got shoes on for sure.
I don't know.
I'm
picturing both in my mind, and they both seem exactly the same level.
I think Mickey's got little yellow pants on. Let me see.
Little yellow pants. Did he pee all over his pants?
Oh, little red pants. He's got little red pants with buttons. He doesn't have a shirt on though.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
What's up
yellow
with
shoes? Yellow shoes.
Just skipping articles of clothing. Just like, this one doesn't need a shirt. Like they were really on an animation budget, and so they had to cut clothes where they could mix it up a little bit.
Well, Mickey's pants are pulled up past his nipples, so and then he's got 2 white buttons. So really, what are we trying to tell our children? Come on, let's get with it.
Or maybe they're not buttons. Maybe those are just holes cut out of his pants, and his nipples are white. And it's just to keep them from chafing underneath the pants rubbing up against. Maybe that's what's going on. Sorry if we just ruined Mickey Mouse for anybody.
Yes, for real.
I really apologize. That being said, it is time for our Week 9 prop bet draft. How this is going to work is we're going to take turns picking prop bets from tonight's game that we think are going to hit. Whoever gets the most right is our winner. The other 2 are our losers, and we'll have to pay out on another impression bet. We've got a bunch of props from this game. And JL, Joey decided last time, so I'm going to let you decide this time. Do you want to go first, second, or third? Remember, it is a snake draft.
First.
JL's going first. Joey, do you want to go second or third?
I'd like to go third.
And then I will be right in the middle. JL going first, Joey going third, and Simon is right there in the middle, and that's me. JL, you've got the first pick. Which player prop are you taking? Why do you like it? How's it going to hit?
That's a good question. That is a good question. I'm going to go with, I'm going to take the, there's a lot of good ones. I'm going to take the over on Miles Sanders, 7.5 receiving yards this week.
That's a good.
They've been working Miles Sanders more into this offense. I think that going against Houston, they're going to probably rely on the receiving work from their running backs. I'll take the over. 7.5 seems like a low enough line for me.
Yeah, that was on my list, Jale. That was one that I liked. He has been getting worked into this offense more. I like Miles Sanders to hit that. That's probably one pass, right? Like if he can have one good reception, he can hit that.
One decent play, and he hits the over.
Well, I'm a little bit upset at you for taking that one, Jale.
Understandable.
But I've got one. I'm a little bit surprised you didn't take it first. There's a guy, I don't even know if he's going to step on the field tonight. I'm going to take Brandin Cooks under 55.5 receiving yards. Just with the vitriol between him and the Texans organization right now. I know it's narrative street, but sometimes narratives are there for a reason. And I'm going to take Brandin Cooks under the 55.5 receiving yards total. They're going to go up against a tough defense anyways, right? Like, I don't think this would be a bad play, even if Brandin Cooks was like the Texans' #1 fan. And then you add on top of that what's gone down this week between him and the organization. I am feeling pretty good about this one.
All right.
Pretty good. Joey, that means you've got the next pick.
That's a pretty decent pick. That is a pretty decent pick, mainly because you get that whole extra niceness of if he doesn't play.
Yep, it adds to
auto win.
So are we picking overs and unders?
Yeah, you can pick over or under, whatever you want.
Whichever one you prefer.
So I've got 2. I got the swing here. So I'm going to go with the point total. I think it's going to be under. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think Eagles go up pretty quick, maybe 28 to 3. And then I don't think they have to do much. So maybe it ends maybe 42 total points. So I'm going to take under on the point total. And
so we take an under on the point total. It's at 45.5, right?
Yeah, 45.5. And then I'm going to go. I got to pick a Dameon Pierce prop bet, don't I? I'm the Dameon Pierce guy, even though Pierce is wrong.
I almost took a Pierce one just to steal it from you, Joey, with my first pick.
I think the Miles Sanders prop, that should have been the #1 overall pick, because the one thing Houston does is they give up points to running backs. So, but I don't like the other 2 Miles Sanders polls. So I'm going to go Dameon Pierce over 2.5 receptions. I think Houston's going to trail in this game, and Pierce can catch balls out of the backfield. So, yep.
Dameon Pierce, 2.5 receptions. And Joey, I was taking a peek at it from last time. Those reception props worked out pretty well for you last time.
Did I win?
I don't know if you won yet, because I haven't gone through and looked at all of them, but I did see your 2 reception props both hit. So you've got that going for you. I keep it rolling if it worked for you last time.
Okay.
Dameon Pierce, 2.5 receptions over for Joey. So far through the first round and the first pick of the second round, Joe, you've got Miles Sanders over 7.5 receiving yards. I've got Brandin Cooks under 55.5 receiving yards. And then, Joe, you've got the under on the game total at 45.5 and Dameon Pierce over 2.5 receptions. That brings it back to me. And, oh, boy, I do not know what I'm going to do here. There's a couple that I like, but most of the ones I like are over there on the Eagles side of the ball.
You can go over there.
I know, but some of these lines are high. Like I'm a little bit concerned about some of these lines on the Eagles side. Here's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts over 1.5 pass touchdowns. Over 1.5 pass touchdowns. His yardage total is set at 233.5. Joe already mentioned that this Texans team gives up a lot to the running backs. I expect the Eagles to run a lot. I don't feel comfortable taking the yardage for Jalen Hurts, but I do feel comfortable taking that he's going to throw 2 touchdowns, get one to A.J. Brown and then one additional one, and we're in business. So Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns for me.
Jalen Hurts over 1.5 touchdowns?
Yep, 1.5 passing touchdowns.
All right, and then I am next with 2 picks here. I am going to go with over on Davis Mills rushing yards, 1.5 rushing yards this week. I think the secondary for Philadelphia secondary is going to force Davis Mills to run in this game, and I think I think one run is going to be enough for him to hopefully get more than 1.5 yards.
Those are the ones that get you.
I know, right?
Those are the ones that get you. You see the Tom Brady half a rushing yard line or the Tom Brady 0 rushing yard line.
All he's got to do is take a step. Just one step.
He's got it, right? Yeah. But then the kneel downs at the end of the game, though, I don't think you have to worry about Davis Mills.
Kneeling against the Eagles.
Yeah, that would be absurd if he had a kneel down moment at the end of this game. Maybe they just do it in defeat. Like they're down 30 at the end of the game and they just kneel the clock out.
I could see it. And then the last bet I'm going to take is I'm going to take the over on a half interception from Davis Mills. So I'm just leaning into this narrative here that Davis Mills is going to have a really hard time with the Philadelphia secondary. It's going to be forced to run, and he'll throw over at least 1 interception.
I like it. I do not mind it, JL. Man, where do I want to go next? Here's where we're going to go next. I'm going to go with, Joey, I'm going to take a page out of your book. And I'm going to go the receptions route. And I'm going to go with the receiver that just absolutely blew up last week as a certified stud. And I'm going to take A.J. Brown over 4.5 receptions. I think we see him with at least 5 receptions tonight. A.J. Brown over 4.5 receptions. That's my final pick that I'm putting in here.
I was kind of, when you took the A.J. Brown reception, I was kind of hoping that Devonta Smith would have a lower than 4.5 receptions. I hope it was like 3, because then I would take it 3.5, something like that. But I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts prop with my next one, and I'm gonna go with the rushing yards. He's been over. What'd you say?
I said I was tempted. That one was tempting.
Yeah,
when I was looking at.
It was
Jalen
either that
Hurts
or the completions. But I'm gonna go with the rushing yards. He was 90 last week and 57 the week before that. And then in week 3, he had 61 rushing yards. So he's done it before. It's a little high. He had 38 once before this season in week 4. So he's approached that number before, but he's hit it 3 times. And like we've said, this Houston team gives up points to to running backs and including yardage. So yeah, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts over 42.5 rushing yards.
Jalen Hurts over 42.5 rushing yards. That closes out the draft. We have our picks now. Joey, you've got Jalen Hurts over 42.5 rushing yards. You also have Dameon Pierce over 2.5 receptions and the under on the total for this game set at 45.5. John Luke, you've got Miles Sanders over 7.5 receiving yards. You've also got Davis Mills over 1.5 rushing yards and Davis Mills over half an interception. And that leaves me with A.J. Brown over 4.5 receptions. And Tommy down there saying that one seems too easy, the A.J. receptions one. I'm with you, Tommy. I also have Brandin Cooks under 55.5 receiving yards and Jalen Hurts over 1.5 pass touchdowns. I feel good about this one. Like the past couple I've left and I've had like some was that the right move? I feel I've got like a confidence burning in my belly. It might be the mac and cheese I ate yesterday, but I'm pretty sure it's just how I'm feeling about this.
Or it's confidence.
It's confidence.
I feel
diarrhea.
like this is not good for our audience because I don't think any of us are gonna have to make any noises.
Because we're all gonna hit.
I like them all. I like them all. I'm gonna take this because it's in a nice little sheet for me, and I'm gonna throw this into. Can I do that big of a parlay? Maybe I'll just do 2 parlays and combine them.
You can do a 9-legger.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'll let you combine.
Throw $10.
Sometimes there's limits on like the same player, multiple props being in the same parlay. So you may have to pick your favorites between the Davis Mills and the Jalen Hurts props. But
in Florida, I can only do 5 because I can only do certain types of prop bets in Florida. So I'm going to play 5 of those today.
Can I suggest a additional mechanic to throw onto this game?
Yeah, I would love it.
If we all get it correct, Keith has to do an impersonation conversation with himself.
Yes.
2 different characters.
2 different characters, but he's got to do the whole conversation.
Keith, is that cool? Say nothing live on air if that's cool. Okay.
Or say yes. Either way.
Yeah. Oh, he said easy. That confidence.
Easy.
Oh, okay. Let's make this happen. I am praying that all of us hit all 3 tonight. That's going to be beautiful.
Because that's kind of fun. Now we get to all kind of both root for each other, but also have that competitiveness. Like, I don't want to do it. So if I can make anybody or Keith do it, I'm good with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, while we're talking about this game, I want to let everybody know about the Thursday social giveaway that's going on here at Better Sports Network. The Eagles are playing tonight. We've talked a little bit about Jalen Hurts already. And today you have the chance to win a Jalen Hurts autographed full-sized football helmet. And oh, boy, is it sexy. All you have to do is make sure to go to the Better Sports Network Twitter at Better Network and retweet the official pinned giveaway post. I'm going to make sure you have the app downloaded. The contest closes tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on Better Sports Live, and Rick Kamala will be announcing the winner. Just go follow Better Network, retweet the pinned tweet, and you can win your Jalen Hurts autographed helmet brought to you by gettingthegame.com and Better Sports Network. A Jalen Hurts signed helmet is sick. That is sick. Yesterday, giving away a Shaq signed basketball. Today, a Jalen Hurts helmet. This is some crazy stuff that they're giving away.
Simon, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you please fire me on air so I can enter this contest?
No, sorry.
I really want that helmet. I don't have a helmet. I want a helmet.
And we need you. If I had a helmet, it would be on my head as soon as I got it. Like, and I know you shouldn't wear the memorabilia, but there is a 0% chance that within 5 minutes of that helmet being at my house, that it is on my head.
I tried to put the little one on.
Right? It's just like,
it didn't fit.
Did you think you were going to like octopus into it or something where like it looks way too small, but suddenly somehow it fits?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't put the most thought into this action. I just saw it, immediately bought it, and then immediately tried to put it on my head.
I learned, Joe, you probably know this because you live in Baltimore and there's like rats are a thing there. Like you guys are real cool about rats, but I didn't know this.
I don't know. It's just sort of like we have to deal with them.
Yeah, they're there. You know a lot about them because there's lots of rats. I didn't know a rat could fit anywhere that its head could fit through. Like if it can fit its skull is the only point that prevents them from getting through anything. They can squeeze their body through any hole that they can fit their little rat head through.
And they can chew through metal. They can chew holes through metal. It's disgusting.
I'm just going to let you know where I learned. I learned this from a Dungeons and Dragons live play, so I'm assuming it has to be true. I did not fact check it, but a trustworthy source. So I'm assuming it has to be true. Can you confirm that, Jaya?
I can confirm that. Absolutely. That
100%.
Is a true fact.
Okay. 100%. Thank you so much.
I know this as a true fact that I definitely looked up.
Fantasy Nav said, finally get into some rat facts. Guys, we've got more rat facts coming your way. At the end of this show, we got some more rat facts. Shale's going to have a whole 15-minute segment on rat facts, but we'll also be breaking down this Thursday night football game a little bit more and answering any of your fantasy questions. If you guys have fantasy football questions, throw them in the chat. We would love to answer them for you. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
A 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah. It's like we have
like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. And we got Tommy in the chat in here. He wants to know, how is there not a superhero named Ratman yet? And while we were on break, I Googled Ratman, just there's got to be one. There is no superhero. But what Ratman is a 1988 Italian exploitation horror film directed by Giuliano Carnameo. Joey, do you know that movie?
Carnameo. It's Carnameo.
Carnameo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I own that film.
Do you have that? Do you have that HD DVD behind you?
I do have that HD DVD behind me. It's
HD.
I think it's over in my. I think it's in my cult film section over there.
Also, Hallen here wanted to know, do you know why I'm terrible at fantasy? JL, fantasy question from Hal. He wants to know, do you know why I'm terrible at fantasy? Why is Hal terrible at fantasy?
Absolutely, Hal. I can help you out with this. The reason you're terrible at fantasy is because of that time in the 4th grade when you pushed Susan over and you told everybody that she was the one that farted in front of the entire class. That is why you're so bad at fantasy football now, Hal. Karma.
Those moments. Do you guys have a moment where you think back to 3rd grade and you're like, man, I should have been nice to that. Like just an instance where you're like, why did I do that? Like where you just feel guilt.
A little smooth brain kid.
Right? You feel guilt about things you did when you were 8 or 9 and you're like, what was wrong with me? Why would I do that?
Yeah, I was an idiot because I didn't have a brain that thought.
It's so dumb. We had another question in here. Lucius said, I have.
He said she was cute and I didn't know how to deal. Sorry.
Well, you're dealing with the consequences now, Hal.
Yeah.
Lucius had a question for us in the chat. Lucius said, I have Ingram and Mark Andrews on the same team. Considering Andrews doesn't play until Monday night, I'm thinking of just starting Evan rather than taking a chance for a 0. What do you guys think? Joey, what do you think about this situation that Lucius is in?
This is the type of move that I like to. I think you're in a good situation. You definitely want to have Mark Andrews rolling out there. I would look to see if Isaiah Likely is on your waiver wire.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I think he's worth cutting your wide receiver 6 as long as it's not a great talent. Or, I would grab a Likely and I would rather go with that. But, yeah, man, you can't put a 0 up. So if Likely's not there, I'm actually kind of okay with starting Ingram.
Yeah.
Joe, what about you?
I would do the same as Joey. I would pick up Likely if I could, because I'd much rather start Mark Andrews over Ingram if I can. Yeah. But the injury is too risky and the timing is kind of shitty. So I would be fine going Evan Ingram and just playing it safe. It's going to depend a bit on your matchup. Take a look at your matchup. If you need that high upside play, maybe consider taking the risk with Andrews.
Evan Ingram's good enough not to take that risk in my mind. There's not many tight ends where I would say that because Mark Andrews is such a differentiator at the position. I would take that risk, but Evan Ingram is good enough. Like he's getting the work. I trust that you're going to get something out of him. I wouldn't want to plug in Yeah, it's a great spot to be in.
Yeah.
It sucks, but I get it, Lucius. But I agree with Joey. If Isaiah Likely's on your waiver wire, that's your solution. Pick him up and start him if Mark Andrews doesn't play, and start Mark Andrews if he does play.
Las Vegas ranked 30th against fantasy tight end. That's pretty crazy.
That's hot. That is hot.
That's real hot.
That's hot for Evan Ingram.
Vegas is setting this matchup at 48. That seems interesting with the Raiders not playing very well, right?
I think it's just rough defenses that they're putting on more than good offenses, right? They expect this to be a close game as well. I think Vegas is a 1.5 point favorite in this, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I checked, like this should be a close game, and I think they're saying neither defense is going to be able to stop what's going on the other side.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, this game might be all about the boom. I mean, there might just be a ton of boom in this game.
All about the boom.
All about the boom. Adam had an Isaiah Likely question for us. Said he picked up Likely as a streamer this week. Do y'all think I should pick up Komet, Juwan Johnson, or Will Disley instead? What do you think, Joey?
So Isaiah Likely, where was it at again? Okay,
right on our YouTube. It's Isaiah Likely, Cole Komet, Juwan Johnson, or Will Disley.
I would probably go Juwan Johnson. Komet and Disley.
I would go Isaiah Likely. I think even if Mark Andrews plays, there's a chance Isaiah Likely still gets worked into this. Rashad Bateman's out this week. I think out of these guys, Likely's the most likely to get the most points.
I was like, he's not going to do it. I was like, Jail's not going to do it. He's not going to make.
There's no way to get around it in that situation. I was trying to think of another way to say it. I'm like, I can't.
It's the most probable.
I know, but that clearly is just me skirting around the pun.
100%. That's you avoiding it just to avoid it.
Yeah.
Jail, I'm with you though. If I was in this situation, I would likely start Likely as well. That would be my decision. I do think with Rashad Bateman expected to miss again, that they're lacking pass catching options. And even if Mark Andrews plays, I think they're going to find ways to get Isaiah Likely involved in this offense. So I'll start Likely, but I don't mind Juwan Johnson. He would be my second choice in this game or in this situation, Adam.
I mean,
guys, what's up, Joey?
Of those three options, I mean, I think Juwan Johnson's better than the other three, and they know it. So
yeah,
it's
in the same game too. I said in the same game, they're playing each other, right? Juwan Johnson and Isaiah Likely. That's the Monday night game. So
yeah,
you can roll that way. What you could do, just pick up Likely and start him. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Guys, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this game we got going on tonight. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Houston Texans. We mentioned already the over-under set at 45.5. Joey took the under on that in our prop.
Yeah, I did.
Draft. But also the Eagles are 14-point favorites against the Davis Mills-led Houston Texans. That's like a college football line that we're seeing right there. We don't see 14-point lines very often. I'm looking at this, but I've got like no ability to have any confidence that the Texans can cover even a 14-point spread. Jail, do you think the Texans are going to cover?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they. I think it's a pretty high line, so I guess they could, but I think the Eagles are next to the Bills in terms of like the most complete team, and the Texans have shown flashes of it, but they're not nearly as complete, So I think that the Eagles are gonna dominate this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. If I honestly, this is a line like usually these really high lines I try to stay away from, but I don't mind the Eagles in this one. And we got Hal down here saying I'm going to throw something down on Philly to shut out Houston. 0 points on the Houston side. I don't mind that either. Joey, do you think Philly can cover this 14-point spread, or do you think the Texans cover?
Yeah, no. I think Philly covers the spread. I mean, the position they're most vulnerable to, Philadelphia's defense, is the running back, and they're still top 12 against it. So this defense is fantastic. And as much as I love Dameon Pierce, like I am nervous to roll him out there tonight.
I'm not as nervous in Damian. Like, what else are the Texans?
I hope you're right.
Know what I mean? Like, what the hell else are they going to do besides give the ball to Dameon Pierce? They're just going to keep on feeding him, I feel like. And he's been getting the work. I think last week was his lowest carry total since he kind of took over as the starting back in this offense. But it was a weird game as well against the Colts. So I think Dameon Pierce gets that work. I'm excited for him. I skipped over something in this one. The game is being played in Houston at NRG Stadium. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but Taylor Swift announced her new Era Tour, and that is one of the locations for her newest tour. So the Texans fans, you can look forward to something exciting happening in your stadium this year. because the Texans playing hasn't been exciting. At least you get Taylor Swift there next year. T Swizzy.
There you go. There you go.
T Swizzy. In this game, we saw AJ Brown blow up last week. Absolutely dominate.
Big game.
Usually when a team is a heavy favorite, it can mean bad news for the receiving options, especially in the second half, right? As the team has a big lead, they're running the clock out. They're not as urgent to get those plays done. And obviously rushing plays are better for like milking the clock, right? Do you guys have concerns for AJ Brown tonight, or is his ceiling capped because of the expected game script?
I think it absolutely could be capped. If they don't need to pass a ton, this offense is not naturally pass heavy. So I think the Eagles could just rely on the run. I think they have the pieces to do that. And I could see them just not needing to really work AJ Brown into it. They're trying to make a playoff run. I don't think they would push AJ Brown in a game that isn't super competitive.
I don't know why I have this feeling that tonight's a Devonta Smith game as far as the passing work goes. Because
it might be, yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're gonna, we've kind of not looked your way the last couple of weeks. Let's look to you tonight against this Houston defense that,
If they lose AJ Brown, how does their playoff chances change?
I think they're still like one of the best teams in the league, even without AJ Brown. I think they've got Devonta Smith, they've got Dallas Goedert, they have the killer running game, and Jalen Hurts can make up some of that on the ground as well. Like they're not.
Do they move at all?
I think they're probably
in
still
your power ranks?
The second best team after the Bills.
If they lost AJ Brown, I would take San Francisco over Philadelphia. That's where I would make the move.
That's totally fair. And then so if they lose Devonta Smith, it's largely the same, right? Like slightly less, but like they're not moving.
They're not moving for me.
I feel like that while it is narrative and just me speculating on how this game might go, I think the trade deadline might be on a lot of teams' minds this week.
Yeah, we can see the impact. And on that, the Eagles added a player that we're going to see their debut tonight in this offense as well. Robert Quinn making his debut in this Eagles defense, an Eagles defense that was already great, just in time for the offensive behemoth that is the Houston Texans. God, these poor Texans. And I was reading over about this game on NFL last night, just like some of the game preview things they're going for. And the Eagles are playing for yes, they've had a great season so far. The Eagles have never in franchise history started 8-0. So if they win this game tonight, they have the best start in franchise history. You know what I mean? That's definitely on their mind.
Franchise history.
They're making history. So they're going to be playing with that
for them
in their
to
minds.
play the Texans, 13.5-point spread. Either shit is going to go sideways tonight, or this is just like a layup for them.
I don't see much Cowboy shit happening tonight, but not at all. If I'm a Texans fan, I'm going to Truth Barbecue and the Woodlands. I'm going to Truth Barbecue. Woodlands. I'm getting some ribs. I'm getting some brisket, and I'm going to put on the Shawshank Redemption because I don't want to see what's going to happen tonight.
I read a ridiculous stat. This one from NFL.com. The stat was the Texans offense has produced 116 points in 7 games so far this season. That's fewer than the Eagles have scored in second quarters alone this year. So the Eagles have scored more points just in the second quarters of games than the Texans have scored, period. Total.
Yeesh.
That's
crazy.
Yikes. That hurts, doesn't it?
That is insane.
Tommy Down, you're saying Philly D tonight going to run right through the line, and Eagles put up 300 yards rushing. Yeah, I mean, we can see that happen. 14-point favorites. I don't mind that rushing narrative.
Not at all. Not at all.
No. Also, just to add on to it, the Texans have never defeated the Eagles. They're 0-5. So they would have to make history tonight in order to take down the last undefeated team.
Never beat them.
0-5 against the Philadelphia Eagles.
In all of time?
Yeah. The Texans are one of the newer franchises, right? And they're not in the same division. So they haven't played all that many times. They've only played 5 times, but they have yet to beat them.
I didn't know that there were any situations left like that.
Where teams haven't beaten other teams?
Yeah. I would have thought that they would have just had at least one game. That makes sense.
Right? Had to have. Excuse me there.
That would be insane. I think the Eagles are going to have an easy game tonight. Are you guys and the other thing you have to consider here with Houston is Brandin Cooks playing, right? So they might be without their main guy. Are you guys playing any outside of Dameon Pierce and Davis Mills? Are you guys tempted to throw any Texans in your lineups this week?
Oh, and I'm avoiding Davis Mills if possible. It's really Damian Pierce is the only Texan I want to start.
Yeah,
like even in a 2-quarterback league, Joey, would you rather start Davis Mills or PJ Walker?
Give me the Peach.
Give me the Peach. Joe, what about you? Davis Mills or PJ Walker?
PJ Walker. PJ Walker is a tough matchup this week too.
Yeah.
So it's not an automatic Peach.
What about Davis Mills or Zach Wilson going up against Buffalo?
Ooh, I think I would go Davis Mills.
Yeah, this is where if Brandin Cooks plays, this is where I go Davis Mills. Oh. But you know what? That's a division matchup, and it's at New York Jets, right?
I believe so. Yes, it's in New York.
In
New Jersey. Sorry.
I would take Zach Wilson then. It's a division matchup at home.
I'm with you. I think I'm still taking Zach Wilson. I was just playing the game because that's the last quarterback I would start. And so I think Davis Mills, I'm just not starting, like truly not starting. I think there's positional players, even in a super flex league, that I could throw in over Davis Mills that I would feel more comfortable with than against this Philly defense. We've talked about expecting the Eagles to run all over the Houston Texans. Does that mean Miles Sanders is a full slam dunk start this week, JL?
Oh, yeah.
Or Joey?
Yeah.
Whoever wants to answer. You guys can fight if you want.
I like Miles Sanders this week. I think he'll be a top 10 running back.
Joey, are you that high on him? Top 10?
I'm going to see where I have him right now. I have him 12. But top 12 running back. Let's go. Fire Miles Sanders up if you have him. He looked great last week, so let's go.
Are there any interest in the other running backs in this offense? Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, are any of them startable in this game tonight?
I think this is also a type of game where you could see the Miles Sanders get his touchdown, and then Philadelphia's up by 21, and so Boston Scott and Gainwell get a little bit more work than they normally would. So I think if you have to start Boston Scott or Gainwell, I think this is the type of matchup you can do it in if you're in a pinch, especially with 6 teams on bye this week.
Joe,
I'm not starting Boston Scott. I would start Kenneth Gainwell if I need someone. I see him as a just slightly out of that RB3 range. So to me, that's flex worthy for most leagues, like league format and sizes. I think this is the week that you can start him out of all the other weeks. So I'm totally fine with it if you need.
I was going to say exactly what you said, Jail, until Scott Fish came in here and said that his son picked up Boston Scott for tonight. And Ian is like the fantasy football whisperer.
Do we know it's that son? Or if it's his other son?
It could be the other son. If it is Ian, I am starting.
Smart son.
Then I'm starting Boston Scott tonight because that dude is sharp, like truly sharp. So I'm starting. I'll start Boston Scott now, solely off the advice of the little fish. The little fish is going to make me start.
We should do a water bet. You and Ian versus Scott and I. Kenneth Gainwell versus Boston Scott.
Okay, I'll do it. Water bet.
Yeah, we'll see it and agree.
I'll do it in the bathtub again, live on air, and try not to injure myself this time.
We need to get Ian locked into a contract. I mean, we think about the future of FYF. We need to start thinking about the dynasty of this all. Like from a dynasty.
I'm going to be honest. I might be too intimidated to add him. I'm not convinced he wouldn't take over within the next 6 months and just kick us out of the company. We would get outplayed by Mr. Ian Fish, I think.
Hostile takeover.
Takeover. Also, Tommy down here.
School.
I didn't think about it that way.
Tommy down here was talking about his DFS lineup for tonight and saying he might go full contrarian in DFS, go full Texans lineup plus Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts plus a full Texans lineup. What do you guys think about that strategy?
I think you can throw your money away in a lot of things.
Joey,
go enter that into one of the massive contests.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Listen, if you go to a gentleman's establishment and you give the person $10, you're never getting that money back because there's no chance. In this, there's a chance you might get some money back. So it's better.
What I always do with a contrarian lineup, all you have to do is if you can build the story in your head reasonably, you can build the narrative, you can build how this game goes that leads to that, then you're good. And I think here, what you're doing is Jalen Hurts leads the Eagles to go up big early, right? Very big early. In the second half, they're not even playing most of their starters. And so then the Texans are able to score 3-4 touchdowns end of the game while the Eagles get their backups reps, their starters rest. And you see a bunch of garbage time points for the Houston Texans and Jalen Hurts 8 before he got put on the bench because they were up so big. I think that's the narrative that you're hoping for in this game, Tommy, if that's the lineup you're going with. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Joey, if you have to pick one player for your captain spot for that 1.5x spot tonight in this Eagles-Texans game, who are you putting in there?
It's Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I said something wrong. No, yeah, it's Jalen Hurts. I mean, this Houston team gives up the most of the run, and you have a running quarterback. And so, yeah, it seems like Jalen Hurts. It's an easy one to say, but.
Jalen, do you have any other players maybe that you're considering plugging into that flex or into that captain spot?
No, I think it would be Jalen Hurts. Next one up would probably be Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think you could. I think you could get cute and plug Dameon Pierce in there. Like I really do. I think if there's any Texans player you can throw in there, you can throw Dameon Pierce in. It's not going to be Davis Mills, and it's not going to be any of the receiving options there. But Dameon Pierce, the Eagles defense, Joe, you mentioned earlier, like if they have a weakness,
yeah, but
it's against the run, even though they are still top 12 against the run in the league. But it is the point of their defense where teams have found some success this year. So I don't mind plugging Dameon Pierce in.
I made a trade for Dameon. What was that now?
The Eagles are ranked 15th against fantasy running backs.
Yeah.
So very middle of the pack.
And I said, why the little fish hate? Boston Scott in the captain spot. Yeah, Boston Scott in the that's contrarian. That's where I take JL's take of there's a lot of things you can throw your money away on.
Yeah.
You can throw your money away in a lot of ways.
I don't even think I'd put AJ Brown in the captain spot, even after last week. I just don't see this being an AJ Brown game. I wouldn't. Devonta Smith before I put AJ Brown, but I'm not putting Devonta Smith in the captain spot.
No,
is this Texans team the worst in the league? Are we going to be looking at them with the first overall pick at the end of the season, do you think?
I think the Bears are worse.
Oh, I disagree.
I think that this Texans team is not good, but I feel like they've got so many good pieces but now I'm starting to think maybe they really don't.
They really don't. I don't know. I think I would put the Texans at the bottom. Hal in here, adamant Lions. It's the Lions. It's the Lions. That Lions offense is fun to watch though, but the defense is so bad that it might make them the worst team in the league. It might absolutely make them the worst team in the league.
We haven't had a Bears-Lions game yet, right?
No, I don't think so. I do not think we've had a Bears-Lions game yet, but we got a couple
saving
of
that turkey for Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, week 10. Next week. Next week is Bears. So we'll
know the answer. We'll at least know between those two teams, and then we need the loser of that game to play the Houston Texans. And
Chicago
then
did beat the Texans.
Okay.
But it was only by like 3 points. So
are the Raiders right
jury's
now?
Still out.
Are they worse?
Ooh. I don't think the Raiders are worse as a team, even though
they look
on paper they're not. But
on paper, yeah. I think they're a
guys.
better team.
Perfect note to end on for Tommy is letting him know that the Raiders might be the worst team in the league. Guys, thank you everyone so much for tuning in and hanging out with us this morning on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. We will be back tomorrow from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time. But tonight, do not forget that BSN is giving away a Jalen Hurts autographed full-size helmet. So head on over to the Better Network Twitter and retweet that tweet and make sure you're following them for your chance to win. Right after this, we've got Moose and Keith coming up, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. Then Corey Nando and friends on after that. And make sure you're hanging out here tonight for the live watch party as well with Rick Camelo, where they revealed the winner of that Jalen Hurts autographed full-size helmet. Until tomorrow morning, though, we are out of here. We will see you guys then. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Mwah.